And for the final time this season, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 12th and final round of the second season of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series, broadcast live here on Full Send Racing Network. And, well, tonight is the night here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, the virtual Circuit Gilles Villeneuve on iRacing, of course. It is time to declare a champion, the second ever in series history, after 3 straight years of Logan Paxa winning championships in this series, whether it be called the Carts to Computers or the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series last season. He has been consistent, and he has been your champion, but he was not here this season, and we opened it up to the rest of our amazing field of drivers, and now we are going to declare a new champion. Hi, everybody. I am Marshall Crocker Jr., of course, your host and founder of this series, whatever you want to call me. I am a number of things, but I am also the guy who gets the wonderful honor of broadcasting this great series. You see the drivers in the background just running their first laps here of qualifying. You'll start to see the times jumping up in a moment. There on the bottom are your live sector tallies, but of course this is the outlap, so nothing much to report for a couple minutes here. But yeah, I just wanted to get a proper chance here for something a little bit different, to go on camera rather than the virtual static photo of me that we use every week. Just felt more personal to say a thank you face-to-face to everybody for watching, and I'll get a more proper thank you out of there at the end of the broadcast. But I want to talk a little bit about tonight before we go into your qualifying here. I want to talk a little bit about the 2 drivers running tonight's race that have the potential to win the title. Technically, there are 3 mathematically, but it would appear that Nick Nickerson will not be here for tonight's finale. And that means we have 2 drivers we got to talk about a little bit. So before we go too far here, I will introduce you to our 2 drivers who have a potential to go for the title this season, both of whom are going for their first. The first of those 2, Mr. Trevor Anderson, driver of the number 25. What a year it has been for him. A guy that, well, we've known in the series for a very long time. Somebody that we've seen since, I think, the later portions of Season 2 of the Carts to Computer series. I think he made a couple one-off appearances, and then he really made his debut known last year in the Snowstorm series, winning a race at Detroit Belle Isle. But this year he doubled that, picked up 2 wins, no poles on the season, but he's been by far the most consistent driver. 9 top 5s on the year for that number 25. The Bozeman, Montana native comes in tonight 23 points behind series points leader Andrew Bedrossian. He sits at 371, and what a story it would be for Trevor to make probably the biggest jump of anybody from last season into this year. Just to prove that consistency and proper racecraft, just patience pays off. It's something I've said all season, and it could be something that Trevor proves tonight if he's able to come out on top here. And not only qualifying to pick up some valuable bonus points, but also as your race winner tonight. And you need to beat this man by a fair number of positions. Andrew Bedrossian, you see there, that red number 5 getting warmed up, zigzagging back and forth, warming up the tires. He's ready to go tonight to go for pole number 7 on the season. And when you talk about race pace, when you talk about guys that can just kick it into another gear, I don't think there's anybody faster in this series right now than Andrew Bedrossian. 7 top 5s on the year, 6 poles, could go for a 7th here, and 3 wins. The Marblehead, Massachusetts native sits at 394 points again, 23 clear of Andrew Bedrossian, of Trevor Anderson. A finish tonight of 8th or better should guarantee him the championship, provided he gets every bonus point. If he does not, then he's just going to want to finish in 5th. And it really, to end it off this season at a place like Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, a very technical track that would suit his skill set, probably not something that's going to come as much of a worry here to Mr. Andrew Bedrossian. So here we are, we're into qualifying, and this is going to be an important one. Again, these valuable bonus points. You get 3 extra bonus points for taking the pole here in this series, and those are 3 valuable points that I'm sure Andrew would love to have, and same with Mr. Trevor Anderson. He would probably not mind taking away some valuable points there to try to bridge that gap, give himself a bit of a buffer. Here we start to see the times going up, and I was curious if we would see this particular driver making a shot at the leaderboard here. He talked about potentially not running the race and just doing practice, but, well, Logan Paxa, ladies and gentlemen, he is back. Of course, he hasn't run the full season, only run, I believe, 2 races, but he is going to make a run at it tonight. It only seems fitting that our new champion, the man, the driver that will unseed Mr. Logan Paxa, is the only series winner in any series I've ever hosted. The winner of the first season of Snowstorm and both seasons of Carts to Computers. Seems only fitting that, well, he would be the guy to give our new champion a run for his money here and to try to pick up his first and, well, only win of the season if he can win tonight here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. And you may have noticed as we see Tim Salvatore currently making his return tonight and going fastest on the leaderboard of anybody at the moment, running a 1:34.5, a time that is extremely fast for a first lap of a stint, but for the speeds we're expecting tonight here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, probably not going to be enough for pole. Gonna need something in the 133, kind of 7 or 8 range. Actually makes a little bit of contact there with Mitch Morrow. There goes Andrew Bedrossian to the pole with, well, a time closer to what I think we're gonna see, a 134.2. Here comes Logan Paxa, though, the 16 car in the final sector of the lap through the final 2 sets of turns here. The Wall of Champions, as it's known here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, through the final set of corners. A great run there. Carries a lot of speed. This is going to be a quick lap. This could be one that potentially becomes the benchmark. A 133.6 is going to be plenty quick. 133.5 even. What a lap time there by Logan. In all my practice this week, I could not manage a time like that for myself. So that is an impressive lap there by both himself and his father. David Pax is going to jump up into the 135, maybe the low 135 range. And he's going to run the 5th fastest time just ahead of Trevor Anderson, the championship contender, who currently sits in 6th. But what a venue Trevor's chosen. Remember, he was the All-Star race winner all the way back earlier this season when he became the driver that was able to choose the season finale from Spa-Francorchamps, Laguna Seca, or where we run tonight at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. And what an interesting pick it was to go for Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, a track that he said by his own admission he had no experience at. And he thought it actually benefited a lot of the Canadian drivers who may be more familiar with the Formula 1 Montreal GP, the Canadian GP here in the Montreal area. That a lot of drivers may be more familiar with it than him. And, well, he may be right, as we see Andrew Bedrossian is going to run his best time of the session, a 133.8. Exactly, the 133.8 flat, but not going to be enough to go to pole provisionally right now. Last week's winner, David Lakey, going to finish up his lap here. Across the line comes the 84 car. He was faster in the first 2 sectors, was not in 3rd, I don't believe. So going to be a fairly decent time. He's going to move up into 12th. Going to leapfrog 1 driver. But Logan Paxa is another question mark. He ran the fastest of anybody. Remember, the purple sector means that was a fastest of anybody on the racetrack there. So we will see if the number 16 can put it number 1. He will come close. That should be a 133.5, maybe a 4. He does not improve, though. So it was very close to his previous time, but not enough to improve. Tim Salvatore is going to run in the 133s. That'll make it his best time of the session, actually at 133.85. So Tim's getting in the equation here. He's giving Andrew a run for his money. But, yeah, just in general, what a season it's been. In a second, we're going to go to your season recap here before we show you your final results here. In qualifying into your starting grid for tonight's race, only 3 more minutes left in qualifying. Trying to go to every driver I possibly can here. Fred Zufelt is finishing up his lap. Not a bad time there, but unfortunately will not improve for the time being. Tanner Dignard through the final set of corners. He has yet to register a lap in this session. Here he comes across the line. Where will the number 51 go? Going to go to 7th there. Nice lap time by Tanner, running a 155.2. Got it nice and hooked up there through turn number 2. So Tanner has been competitive all season. He's really a driver that we saw last year and this year gets better and better as the season goes on. Andrew Bedrossian across the line. 133.9, not going to be enough to beat his previous best of 133.8 flat. So still that 133.566 by Logan is still the benchmark. Jack Hillier comes across the line. He's had a really great season for him. He's actually backing off here. He's not going to go for it this lap, but really Jack has shown at the ovals all season. What an incredible year it's been for him to improve from last season. He's looked more and more comfortable with each passing race, and I'm really excited when we come back. I'd imagine next year for this series what we are going to see from him. Here comes Logan Pax, a weird lap time. Doesn't register properly on the timing telemetry, but it is enough for a new fastest lap, 133.334. That is an absurd time here, and he has now taken the lead by a full 4.5 tenths over Andrew Bedrossian, but now only 3 tenths over the second place driver here in qualifying, Tim Salvatore, running a 133.6, another absurd time for him. Trevor Anderson's getting pretty competitive there, going to jump up to 5th. Dan Skilton's going to jump up to 8th. What a year it's been for Skilton. He is just another driver that's debuted this season as a rookie. Has only gotten better and better. He's going to pull aside for Rich Foligno, who goes by there on the outside. Fred Zufelt runs his best time, but does not improve overall. We're going to go back on board here with Andrew Bedrossian, though. Maybe going to watch his final run here through the final 2 corners here. And, of course, the Wall of Champions, the famous final corner here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Off one curve, off the other. Carries quite a bit of speed, but I think he took a little bit too much curve there. May not be his fastest final sector. And he's only going to have 1 more attempt here. 1 minute to go here in qualifying, 1.5 lap. That means this is his final shot. Most drivers here not improving in these later laps. As that tire wear starts to go, they just run out of pace. Here again is the number 16 here for Logan Paxa. Again, making his debut, one-off return in the series here in the finale. Hasn't been able to run with us all season, but we know the pace he has in these Indy Pro cars. We've seen it in many past seasons. Through the final set of corners, here he comes. Final run through carries a ton of speed, just avoids the outside wall. Great run. Didn't get a sense of how his last sector was in his best lap, so I don't know if that'll be it. Quick lap won't be his best, though. Came very close. Purple sector in both the first and the third, so Logan seemingly that lap after lap pace in that car is not something to scoff at. Andrew Bedrossian has finished for the session. He is now off the track as we see Christopher Mitchell coming to the end of his run. Very quietly having a really great qualifier here, sitting in fourth. Could he crack the 133s? He can't, but Trevor Anderson can. Trevor Anderson going to go to row number 2 provisionally as the checkered flag comes out. Rich Foligno's going to go to 8th, but this could get very interesting. Your 2 championship contenders separated by 23 points. That's about 7 or 8 spots, depending on bonus points. They are going to be starting on the exact same row, and Andrew will not take away the bonus point for pole, which he's had 6 of this season. Those bonus points have really been coming in handy for him. But it looks like tonight that is going to go the way of Logan Paxa, a driver not even running in this series, and a driver whose points won't even count for tonight's race, as he is just running a one-off provisional in a race that is very important for the title. So Tim Salvatore is off the track too. He's going to settle for second, and that means that the pole tonight will go to Logan Paxa for the first and only time this season. But we are on board here with David Lakey as he finishes up his final lap. Marshall Crocker will jump up a spot there into the 13th spot. My father will go into 13th, running about a 136.8. Through the final sector, though, David Lakey has only improved on his personal best all lap. Where is he going to go? Currently sits in 14th. Could he bump himself back up? I believe he's going to a 136.3 somewhere in that vicinity. It will bump him back up into 13th. The driver currently sitting in 5th in the points is going to try to keep it that way. Of course, last week's winner at Auto Club. What a race that was. What a finish there. Again, unfortunate that there was no green-white checkered, and unfortunately the finish went in kind of an unusual manner. But very quickly, before we go to your final results here in qualifying, as they will continue to finish up there, let's get a bit of a season recap here for, well, who has won each individual race, who's gone on pole, and just, what are the storyline of the races really, storyline of the season has been over the course of this year. Of course, your first winner of the year in his debut performance in the series, Nick Nickerson, jumping over from the Bandit Racing League. He came in and won his very first race. Just such a strong performance, such a powerful statement he made. And of course, Andrew taking the pole there as he would for the first 3 races of the season. Then it was Trevor Anderson getting his first win of Season 2 and his first at an oval in the series, and his second career win here in the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series. He won at Phoenix, just beating out Andrew Bedrossian. He led pretty much the entirety of the end of that race. Then at Mid-Ohio, it was finally Andrew getting in the winner's column, going from pole to the checkered, winning at Mid-Ohio. Then he'd followed up next week at Gateway, going to the oval, proving that he could do it anywhere after Tim Salvatore would take away the pole, which he would do the next week again when we went to Monza. Nick Nickerson would pick up his second win of the season in chaotic fashion with that late race wreck between Salvatore and Bedrossian that would kind of capitalize on their early season rivalry they really had that sort of died off as the season went on. Then in Indianapolis, it was Michael Nickel getting his first career win in the series, with Andrew Bedrossian taking the pole. Then at Road America, Bedrossian would win his third of the year, going from pole to the checkered for the second time this season. Then at Homestead, Miami, it was Tim Salvatore winning his first career race in the series in his third season with Nick Nickerson on the pole. Then at Iowa, it was Trevor Anderson winning his second of the year to take the points lead at that point from Andrew Bedrossian's pole. Then it was Michael Nickel at Moseport getting his second of the season in regards to wins, beating out the always competitive and, well, very competitive lap time in that particular week, Mr. Max Preston. Then finally, last week at Auto Club, it was David Lakey taking the win after the pole from Christopher Mitchell, his first in series history. Let's go quickly here through your starting grid, as we need to hurry. There are only 2 drivers who have yet to take the grid for tonight's race. On the pole, Logan Paxa, starting alongside Tim Salvatore, who has yet to grid for the race. Tim is going to be going for his second win of the season and was not able to run the entire season to go for the title, so how great would it be for him to come away with a win to round off the year, beating out his rival and this guy, Andrew Bedrossian, starting in third tonight. Your championship contender alongside his other championship rival, Trevor Anderson. They start third and fourth. Mitchell and Paxa. David Paxa going to start in fifth and sixth. Tanner Dignard and Rich Foligno rolling off on row number 4, 7th and 8th. Then it is Skilton alongside Justin Lewick there after that. And it's Mitch Morrow and Fred Zufelt, row number 6. David Lakey alongside Marshall Crocker, senior there on row number 7. Then to round off the field, it's Michael Nickel and Jack Hillier, neither of whom qualified for tonight's race. That is your grid for tonight's race. We are getting ready to go. Mitch Morrow is the only driver left who has yet to take the grid for tonight's race here at Montreal for the season finale at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. We are getting ready to go, folks. There are the lights. We wait to go green. Green flag for the final time this season. In the 12th round of the second season of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series, a perfect start for Tim Salvatore around the outside into turn one. The 91 car side by side, two drivers not running for the title, right in front of your title contenders. But the 91 of Salvatore, a brilliant piece of driving, takes the lead early on in tonight's event. As Logan back to the outside, gonna fight him back around. Paxa all the way around in turn number three. What a move by Logan Paxa. That is why he is a three-time champion, and a stellar start to the race as your pole sitter gets back up to the front. Further back in the field, Bedrossian and Anderson, your two championship rivals, settle in here. Comfortable start to the race for both of them as Tanner Dignard has moved up 2 spots. Justin Lewick from 10th up to 6th. David Pax has dropped down 1 spot. Other than that, the only major drop of the race so far has been Christopher Mitchell, all the way back down somehow into the 15th position there, just ahead of Jack Hillier, who appears to be having some struggles, maybe some damage to that car after an early wreck. But further back up front, these are the battles we're going to be caring about. It's Logan Paxa, Tim Salvatore, and Andrew Bedrossian. A three-headed battle here as we head down into the hairpin here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Then the long straightaway where we're going to see so many passes happening today. This is going to be huge. Who is that off track? Rich Foligno's gone off. The 99 car making a little bit of contact with another driver. That is going to put him behind the 8-ball early, but relatively little damage, it would seem. Here we go, back to the front. The battle between the two drivers who made Snowstorm Season 1 such a competitive run to the championship. Logan beat him then, but Tim Salvatore actually. That's Salvatore, he goes wide. He goes off the exit of the final chicane through the DRS sign. We'll have to give the spot back. Logan Paxa will take over the race lead. And I'd imagine Andrew Bedrossian's going to get a free spot as well. Actually, Tim tries to hold him up. They make contact. Bedrossian and Salvatore into each other. No damage, it would seem, from Bedrossian, but you saw that little bit of contact. Trevor Anderson gets by Tim Salvatore. This is what Trevor needs. I think a chaotic race where you can just stay out of trouble. That's what's going to benefit Trevor Anderson, and it has so far. He has slotted into third. Tim Salvatore, after that little bit of contact, trying to defend from Andrew, going to drop down to fourth after having to serve that penalty there in that corner from going wide off the exit of the chicane. Tanner Dignard and Justin Lewick, big pass. Justin Lewick sending it underneath Tanner Dignard. He makes a little bit of contact with him. Goes too wide, bobbles a bit on exit. You can see that 55 car having a tough time getting enough grip there. But he muscles his way underneath Tanner Dignard, who only drops back 2 spots for the time being. Who was that? Whoa, Mitch Morrow and Christopher Mitchell have gone off. They've made contact off the exit of what corner is that? We'll go back to the replay here. Going to go to your Full Send Racing replay presented by CanadianMiniIndy.com. We'll talk about them in just a moment. This was the battle at the time for 14th. This was way at the back of the field. What went wrong here? Mitch Morrow just absolutely clobbered the back of Christopher Mitchell. I don't know if he just locked up, lost a braking point, if there was a previous incident or what, but we got to go back up front. We can't get too distracted. Logan Paxton now 3.5 seconds up the road from Andrew Bedrossian. He has been comfortable since the start of this race. We saw Tim Salvatore just a moment ago get the pass back on Trevor Anderson. Is he going to do it on Bedrossian too? He does. Sends it in late on the chicane. He goes wide again. Again trying to make an aggressive move in that final chicane. It bites Tim Salvatore as Andrew will take back second place. And Trevor Anderson will go back up into second. What a crazy start to the race tonight. And just what a start to the season, man. Or what a start to tonight's race to cap off the season. Michael Nickel very quietly, who I believe has run the fastest lap of the race so far. He's sitting there in 6th. He's up 9 spots from 15th. Didn't qualify in qualifying, but he's a 2-time race winner this year. We know the pace the 23 has. He's actually looking for 4th in the overall point standings. We'll show the overall points here heading into tonight's race in just a moment. The important battle to remember is the 23-point gap between Anderson and Bedrossian for the title. What a start it has been for Michael Nickel. Back up a little ways here. Going to look off the back of Andrew Bedrossian's car to see the, well, somewhat chasing Trevor Anderson. He's still within the slipstream range, but the question is that raw pace of Andrew Bedrossian. Just how quick is that number 5 car? And I think the answer is exceedingly so. Trevor is going to have to pull every bit of pace out of him to not only pass Andrew, but then he's got to wait for a little bit of luck, and he's got to hope that Andrew has some sort of issue or gets in some sort of wreck that sends him back far enough to give Trevor the championship. There's a fun little battle here for 4th. Justin Lewick up from 10th. Tim Salvatore down from 2nd to start off tonight's race. We'll put up in just a moment the comparison from the start of the race till now. But here's the onboard from Tim Salvatore. The run down into the final chicane. Down to the inside he goes. We're side by side into the chicane. Justin Lewick up on the top side. Tim on the inside. He's had some trouble in the chicane so far in tonight's race, but he makes it tonight. Making a little bit of contact there with that inside curbing on the second half of the chicane, but he gets through with quite a bit of pace and is going to comfortably make the move on Justin Lewick. So Tim Salvatore back up into 4th. And trying to recover from a very chaotic, very troublesome, you could say, first couple laps of the race. Back up front, Logan Paxa comfortably leading there now. 5 seconds clear of the rest of the field. We are seeing that pace he has cultivated from running a variety of series throughout the season, all coming to to good use. Clearly, he's been putting that time in that he's been running another series, a variety of Indy Pro specific series on this very same car on iRacing in the time that he hasn't been with the series this year. So clearly, that has been time well spent. And so great to see Logan back here and doing what we are familiar with for perhaps the first 2 seasons of this series before this man, Mr. Andrew Bedrossian, showed up. Here is his battle for the championship. Doing a great static camera shot here off the exit of the chicane, and what a job Trevor's doing to stay with him. Like, Trevor Anderson has not fallen back by any means whatsoever. 25 car actually going to get within a couple of car lengths here into the hairpin. Can he get the car woed up? Get a good run off the corner? He's not bad. He's a little bit loose off the corner there, but so is Andrew. This could be a pretty good run up, and I think the question is, how aggressive does Trevor want to be? You know, he's been as good as he has all season this year because of his consistency, because of his patience. But tonight, he really does need Andrew to start falling back, and the best way to do that for Trevor might be to get the move done and then try to slow him up. Here comes Trevor. Thought about peeking to the inside there into that final turn. I think it's 13 and 14 chicane. But no, going to think better of it and just slot in behind. And every second, these two continue to battle, and Andrew keeps having to look in his rearview mirror. Logan Paxa gets a little bit further up the road, but at this point, I don't think either of the 2 championship contenders are going to be all too particularly worried about that. Looking elsewhere on track here for some good battles, Dan Skilton is not too far back of Tanner Dignard. This would be the battle for 7th. Tanner, who started in 7th, and Dan Skilton, who started 1 spot back in 9th. And speaking of which, we will put your positions gained since the start of the race there up on the time tower on the top left. But yeah, what a fun battle this is going to be, because I think 2 guys that are both very familiar with racing but have very, very different experiences in the racing world. Of course, Tanner quite a bit younger, and Dan Skilton, a very experienced driver in the world of racing. But to iRacing, they are both fairly competitive and fairly equal. We've seen all season on pace, so this could be fun in just a moment. Tim Salvatore trying to track down, and actually successfully so, Trevor Anderson. He's getting there, and so is Justin Lewis. We're starting to see kind of a line forming between these, not top 4, the rest of the top 5 besides Logan Paxa. They're all clearly showing quite a bit of pace here. This is the onboard from Justin Lewis as he heads into the hairpin. Now 5 laps in here tonight, 40-lap race. We are 1/8 of the way through, 12.5%. We are making progress, and well, the guy who is really the most comfortable of anybody right now, is doing everything he needs to do, is Andrew Bedrossian. You know, he just needs to finish better than Trevor Anderson, and that would absolutely guarantee him the championship. And I mean, he really just needs to finish maybe 6 or 7 spots ahead. Not getting the bonus points for qualifying, for getting the pole, it's going to hurt a little bit. But again, if he can just keep doing what he's doing right now, not making any mistakes, not try to rethink the wheel, that's all he's going to need to take away his first Snowstorm Series champion and become the first driver since your race leader to do so here in this series, the 2nd champion ever. Tim Salvatore ran a very quick lap there that last time by, a 1:34 flat, almost a competitive qualifying time there, and that's the reason he's cut right up to the back bumper of Trevor Anderson. And again, a really interesting season from Tim Salvatore overall. You know, you remember back to the beginning of the season where we saw such consistent pace from him. He was in the championship discussion there for a couple weeks, and then there was that whole situation where he and Bedrossian got together early at Gateway. That put Salvatore out of the race, which he was never able to recover from. He had a shot to go for the win at Monza, got a little bit too aggressive there in a move with Andrew. The two got together in turn 1 in that race. And the rest of the season, it was just more consistently good performances there. Missed a couple races, which is the reason he hasn't been competitive in the championship overall. But he got that win at Homestead Miami Road Course. And we really haven't seen Tim back in a road course race like this since then. Unfortunately, he missed Mosport. And the rest of the races to this point have been ovals, I should say. So Tim Salvatore would be pretty cool for him to come back here and make some noise. And right now, the only way I think we're going to get a competitive race with your race leader, Logan Paxa, is to get a caution, which as of right now we have not, but I never want to jinx things like that. This battle with Dan Skilton and Tanner Dignard starting to heat up, and you see Tanner already in the 51 car just up ahead in that bright neon kind of highlighter yellow color. He's trying to swerve back and forth, trying to break the draft there to Dan Skilton, who is making up ground. Is he going to peek to the inside of the hairpin? No, he's not. He's going to back up for the time being, and he's going to wait a couple corners. Much better runoff there for Tanner Dignard, you see. So Tanner is staying competitive, keeping with him, and well, keeping his lap times comparable to Dan Skilton's, but is not giving him any openings in any of the crucial passing zones. Mitch Morrow, who unfortunately has had a pretty pretty rough start to the race. Again, not entirely by his own doing, but that wreck, for whatever reason there with Christopher Mitchell, has really put him behind the 8 ball. Going to the Full Send Racing replay to see a wreck that presumably happened just a moment ago, and no, that was just Mitch going a tad bit off track there. Just for whatever reason there in the hairpin. Probably took a mild penalty there that he had to give a little bit of time back because he did go off the racing surface. But my telemetry classified that as a wreck. But yeah, not the way that either he or Christopher Mitchell wanted to end off their seasons. They've been so exceedingly quick so far, and the only way I think they really get back in it is with a caution. This battle for second, which effectively feels like the battle for the win in any other race. If Logan Paxton weren't here and running the lap times he has a 1:33.7 that last time by. Actually, Tim Salvatore of this group here running by far the quickest lap time last time by. You're going to see up there in the timing tower on your top left. Ran a 1:33.8 that last time by, comparative to a 1:34.3 and a 1:34.9. So it has been a good couple laps here for Tim. He's really settling back into a rhythm. This is going to be interesting. Trevor swerving around, trying to break the draft. Maybe peeking to the inside on Andrew. Here we go. 3 cars in at once. Tim and Trevor side by side. Who gets the better of it? They get through the corner together. Impressive piece of driving there from Trevor. He gives up the spot. He backs off a little bit. And just like that, Tim Salvatore back into the podium spots and has a chance to go track down his early season rival in Andrew Bedrossian to try to, in some way, I guess. Maybe, I'm sure these aren't his intentions, but if he does get by Andrew and he's able to really give him a good fight, not only is Trevor going to be able to get back in the equation, but so is Justin, so is Michael Nickel there, who's running some good lap times there, who runs just behind him. And after that, it's about 5 seconds back to Tanner Dignard. So that's really the group of cars that is still in competition for this second spot. Now Logan Paxton 10 seconds up the road. I'm going to feel bad because I feel like we're not going to show him nearly as much as we need to tonight, but like this is just what Logan does. An exceedingly fast driver. We saw him make a one-off appearance earlier this season at the All-Star race, and well, since then, just what a year it's been for him outside of this series and overall racing. And I know he's been extremely competitive in his other sim commitments. So I wish him the very best of luck in tonight's race, and hopefully he keeps chugging along there and putting up great laps. But back to this battle here, side by side for second. Down to the inside goes Salvatore. Comfortable move there. Gets ahead into the braking zone, into the hairpin. Now Trevor going to make up a couple car lengths. Justin Lewitt getting back in the equation. Now the question is, how much is Andrew Bedrossian going to push here? Is he going to take an aggressive shot into the final the final set of chicanes? I'd say there's a fairly good chance. You know, the longer he takes, the better chance Trevor Anderson might get. Here's Trevor's move to the outside. They're going to go side by side. How much does Trevor push? Trevor goes around. The 25 locking up. The worst thing he could do for his championship contention. No caution comes out because it's a single car incident, but Trevor Anderson, massive for his overall championship implications. There goes Tanner Dignard, and we're going to go to a replay in just a moment, but there was no contact there from my perspective. That was some hard racing where Trevor really tried to push the limits, and there was just no much further. There was no further that he could really push. Here we go, going to the Full Send Racing replay presented by CanadianMiniIndy.com. You just see it, simple as day. Just lost the back end, locked the car up a little bit. His steering was straight, like it wasn't like he made an aggressive maneuver or anything like that. Just got in a little bit too late. The back end went around on him, and the lack of downforce here in this Montreal setup because of the long straightaways just bit him. Simple as that. And yeah, the question becomes, if we don't get a caution to the end, was that the mistake that'll give Andrew Bedrossian the title? I mean, Trevor is immediately catching back up to Tanner. You know, you would have thought the momentum would kind of send him backwards. Those tires are going to be scuffed now. You could have wondered maybe a little bit of damage there from hitting the curbing, but no, he's back up to speed, and should be a fun little battle here in just a moment for sixth. Actually, maybe even going to take a shot here into the hairpin. Going to go right to the inside, not waiting around there. Is Trevor going to go, yeah, down the inside. The patience we've known Trevor for all season, it is gone. Big move there by him. They're side by side off the exit, which I think will actually only benefit Trevor because Tanner's going to be side by side alongside him rather than sitting there getting ready for the slipstream. So side by side they still go, though Tanner about a half car length ahead on the outside lane, and will Trevor beat him in the battle down to the chicane. Into the braking zone before the wall of champions. Nice move by Trevor. Clean driving there for that turn to get the better of him and to get himself loaded up in time for that wall on the exit of turn number 14. Back to this battle. There's always been a battle going here on at some point in this race, the entirety of tonight's event. It's been so much fun to cover, but these are the tough nights as a broadcaster. Too much to talk about. You don't know what to go to next. Also a battle for 10th here between Foligno and Zufelt. I'll actually go to this first for just a split second. We'll also put up your track map there so you can follow along, see where your favorite driver is on the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve layout here. And whoa, Fred Zufeld getting a little bit wide, a little bit loose there off the exit of turn number 3. Rich Foligno going to get about a car length. So for the time being, we will go back to your other battle for second place. And again, I just talked about it a few minutes ago, but the storyline here between these two guys, remember back to the battles they were having here at the beginning of the season, I think they've really mellowed out since then. You know, Tim taking some time away from the series. They haven't had a ton of time to actually continue that rivalry on too far. Michael Nickel's gone off at some point in the lap, and he's given up a spot to, well, he's given up a spot on track to Christopher Mitchell, who was not on the lead lap. But yeah, Michael Nickel, I think just a second ago, maybe locked up a little bit into the chicane, got a little bit wide. That's exactly what it was. Yeah, he just didn't get it wound up in time, and the car just wasn't ready. I don't know if it's a downshifting issue or if he just didn't brake in time, but whatever it was, went through the grass and took little to no damage, actually. So that's the most important thing there for Michael Nickel, as he's going to be relatively affected as a result. Rich Foligno and Fred Zufeld, though, we've seen an incident on track that is just clearing up. Fred Zufeld getting the better of it as he drives away first. So here's Rich Foligno heading down towards the hairpin. Did Foligno lock up? Zufeld got a little bit hot there on the brakes. He did. He just got loose right in front of Fred Zufeld, who luckily makes minimal contact, gets away relatively unscathed. And same with Rich, just kind of a single car spin. He's going to lose a spot to Marshall Crocker Sr., who drives by there, the number 15 car, and David Lakey just in front of him in the 84. So a little bit of a mistake there from Rich Foligno, but mistakes have been relatively infrequent here so far tonight for the most part. Of course, we saw that Mitch Morrow lockup situation where he got into Christopher Mitchell, and a couple other issues like the Trevor Anderson thing. But relatively speaking tonight, this has been a much more stable race than the last couple Formula Renault races we saw with that new low downforce setup that made it really tough on the drivers, and was the reason that we didn't run it tonight for the finale. Is it was proving too hard to drive in a competitive way, let alone by oneself. And if you can't really trust yourself to drive the car without anybody around you, how can you expect good racing? So this battle just continues, though, keeps going. And Tim Salvatore and Andrew Bedrossian running almost tit for tat identically the last 2 or 3 laps here. We'll go to your lap time comparison at the end of this lap, but I think Tim got the better of Andrew off the runoff of that final corner there before this straightaway into the hairpin. So I don't think Andrew's going to have a shot here into the chicane. Tim should get the best of him once again. And in some small way, like every second Tim sits ahead of him here is one less spot Andrew has overall, and in turn is less ground Trevor Anderson needs to make up. But Trevor, comparatively to Tim and Andrew for this battle, he is 5 seconds back. I mean, it's not insane, but that's a decent amount to make up to 2 drivers that are as great as these guys are. Actually, 12 seconds back. So excuse me on that one. Yeah, it's going to be a tough fight all the way back through the field, but I genuinely think the season he's had, if this race goes into an attrition mode where just one after another guys are coming together, I think Trevor could absolutely be the beneficiary of that. Looks like Marshall Crocker Sr. in the 15 went off track at some point here. We go to the full center racing replay once again, just locked up into turn number 4 for whatever reason. Getting it load up in time, though, doesn't try to throw it in the corner and risk going into the wall. So staying on track there, keeping relatively consistent, as he often has so far this season. He is going to get back up to speed and is still going to slot in 13. We go to a different battle here. That Salvatore Bedrossian battle is still in the back burner, still ready to go at any given moment. A 0.3 of a second gap between those 2 drivers for second. But back to this battle. This is for 7th, 8th, and there is 9th there. That's David Paxa running in the 3rd of those 3 cars, the 53, the 51, and the 6, with the 2 in the middle. On board here with David Paxa down towards the hairpin. Been a really good year for David. He got his first career podium earlier this season at Indianapolis. He's been trying to follow it up for a while. Didn't sound too confident about tonight's race, but he's definitely a guy who's always going to give it his best and is always going to put the aggressive move on when he needs to. This could be an opportunity for that. He's in the slipstream on Dan Skilton, but Skilton's in the slipstream on Dignard, so this could get competitive. Tanner, I think he's weaving a little bit too much almost. He gets in the grass. Skilton will get a shot. Does Paxa go for it? You get a great view of this with Paxa. Whoa, Skilton goes a little bit wide off the chicane. He doesn't get it woed up in time. He's going to miss the corner, and Paxa got a better run than Dignard. Might get 2 for 2 in 2 corners. To the outside goes the 51 on the 53. Into the braking zone. Sorry, the other way around. 53 on the 51. There he goes. He got him into the first braking zone. He doesn't into the second. Contact. Dignard gets into Paxa, but Paxa saves it. Keeps it on track. Dignard actually doesn't go around either, so a little bit of contact, but more of a friendly bump than a wreck. And David Paxa keeps it on track and takes over possession of 7th, up from 9th this time last lap. What a series of corners there by David Paxa. Great display of racecraft by the 53. Gonna go to a brief, just gonna take a brief, quick break here. We're gonna give you a few alternate camera angles of this, and your co-host is just gonna take a water. We can't really jump a water break. We can't really jump away to a commercial break here with how busy this race has been, but we'll be back in just a moment. Oh, we will not. Yellow flag comes out. That'll make things a little bit more interesting. Let's see what brought that out. It was Jack Hillier, it would appear, who has gone off track solo. I don't know if this was a case of a double car incident or if Jack he spun off in the way of the leaders coming up on him. And race director Chris Ferrara, who I want to give a massive thank you to, and I'm sure I will again later. Oh, that's why he was right in front of your 2 leaders there. Or, well, 2 of your 3 leaders. Of course, Logan Pax is still your race leader, and he's going to have to defend here on this next restart. But, yeah, that was why. We're going to go on board here with Tim Salvatore on the run-up to that incident. And there was Jack, so I'm going to go on board here to Tim Salvatore's perspective. There you see returning to the track, the 44, right in front of the leaders there. Luckily that he was, maybe a half car width over from the apex of the corner. Otherwise, Tim Salvatore would have absolutely hit him. But he did not. He was able to get by, and same with Andrew Bedrossian. And the caution brought out there just as a provision, just in case. So thank you to Chris Ferrara for keeping things safer than they might have alternatively been otherwise. And with that, we're going to have a very interesting caution restart here in just a couple laps time. So we are actually going to go side by side here for just a couple laps as we sit under yellow here for the season finale of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series Season 2 here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. And when we come back, we're going to show you your championship points overall heading into tonight, not just your 2 championship contenders. Logan Pax leads, and we will return in just a moment. And we return here on the Full Sun Racing Network coverage of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series finale. The battle off pit road. We're watching on screen right now. It's Salvatore, Bedrossian. That was Anderson getting the better of Lewick. Then it's Paxa, Dignard. Another race off here. That's Skilton beating out Nickel and Zufel. After that, it should be David Leahy. Then Rich Foligno will become your final driver left on pit road. Both Mitch Morrow and Christopher Mitchell, I believe, just catching up to the back of the pack now, will be sitting right behind your leaders here as they funnel back out, but they will still be a lap down. No lucky dog passes given out here at the road courses, so they were going to need to get by here before Logan Paxa stayed out. And of course, because he did, there will be no waiver rounds. Otherwise, if they had caught back up to the back of the field, everybody but them pitted. They would have got the lap back and then could have just hoped for a second caution to legitimately get back in the fight for the win on the same strategy. But that should be, if I had to estimate, the final caution of the race, the final pit stop of the event for most drivers. You can comfortably make it on 20 laps, actually closer to 27. So with that pit stop there, only 25 laps to go, we are now good to the end for these drivers. So it's just going to become a case of race, craft and race pace rather than of strategy. But what this whole thing did do is it put Trevor Anderson right back behind Andrew Bedrossian after that earlier wreck, because it was a great pit stop. Timed it perfectly, great entry to the box, and those little things, the intangibles, are what Trevor Anderson is so great at, and it's the reason he's a championship contender, though his photo never works. He has a portrait, I swear, that at one point used to fit in that graphic, and now it doesn't for whatever reason, but Trevor Anderson there going to be in the catbird seat on his championship rival, Andrew Bedrossian. And now I think is where we're going to see the interesting strategy come into play of Okay, Andrew could fight with Tim Salvatore, try to break away from Trevor Anderson, try to pick up some valuable positions. Or he could let Trevor by, not make it too much of an official, scrap for position. Let him get away a little bit and just focus on staying on track. Find a gap between a couple cars, run consistent laps, don't put yourself at risk, don't put yourself at the whim of other drivers, and just try to coast to the championship. So if you want to put yourself at risk, if you want to risk doing what Trevor just did and you're Andrew, you can try to go for the win here. I know he would like to beat his former rival Logan Paxa, who is on pace to just absolutely cruise to victory with the pace he had before, but you know Andrew. He's an aggressive. He's a great driver. He always goes for the win. That's why he's so fun to watch. But I'm curious to see where his priorities lie here on this next restart. But it's going to be a single file restart here as the lights of the pace car turn off. So we're going to go green next time by. Going to be 24 laps to the end once we go to green here. Now Marshall Crocker going to jump onto pit road. Same with Christopher Mitchell. Mitch Morrow going to be the only driver who stays out on track after that entire pit cycle, as well as, of course, your race leader, Logan Paxa, who will need to pit at some point. So that choice not to pit could potentially give the win away to one of these other drivers. But as you've seen on screen for the past about a minute, we got your championship standings here heading into tonight's finale to look over. So if you want to see where your final results could potentially leave some drivers in the overall standings, if you're a fan of, say, a driver like Max Preston's not here. I wish he was, but unfortunately he was away today. Maybe somebody like a Justin Lulick, a great performance from Justin tonight could bump him up as high as like 5 or 6 spots in the championship. Same with Marshall Crocker Sr., same with Tanner Dignard. There are plenty of guys who have the potential to move up. The most important battle of all, of course, between Bedrossian, Anderson, and Nickerson. Again, a real shame Nick Nickerson missed the finale tonight. But we'll see him in just a couple days' time, actually 2 days' time, for the season opener of the Bandit Racing League Season 10 on this very channel. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. There you go. There are your point standings heading into tonight's race for the finale at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. So we'll get those taken down. And very quickly, before we go too much further here, we're going to go back to my face here on the broadcast there. As we, again, we wait for the race to go green here in just a moment. Hi, everybody. I am back. I want to quickly thank, in person here, well, I have a chance before we go green. Definitely want to thank CanadianMiniIndy.com. I've talked about them all season. They are very near and dear to my heart, of course, near and dear to the series' heart, because they do some great work there, especially their social media representative, Chris, for getting the word out there about our series and posting our links on the weekends, helping you guys, know the deal and know what's up and what's fresh with this series. And in return, we always put the word out for them. And I am so glad to support CanadianMiniIndy.com because they're the way that I and a variety of other drivers in the series got into racing. They have rookie series karting, which is just arrive and drive. You show up, you pay a fee each given week, and you run the yearly championship. Little to no experience required. You just got to be a safe driver. And definitely at a young age you can get started, and that can be such a great jumping point to the rest of the ladder, and you can move up into Briggs and Road Tax that a number of these drivers like Christopher Mitchell, Max Preston, Rich Foligno, I could go on forever, I've gone through. So it's the very thing that brought us together for this series, and it's the very series that is supporting us all these years later. So thank you to CanadianMiniIndy.com, as always, for supporting us in this series. But now it is time to go back to green. Logan Paxa, former CanadianMiniIndy.com driver, has taken the green flag here as the race leader, and what a jump he got. Already 7/10 clear of Tim Salvatore as we head down into turn number 2 and 3. Salvatore still clear of Bedrossian. Justin Lulick actually got the jump on Trevor Anderson that last time into turn number 1. So Justin getting much better off the starts here as the race goes on here. That first start, I think he got a couple spots there at the beginning, but appears to have passed a very competitive Trevor Anderson here right off the bat, and is going to make Trevor Anderson's charge for the championship all the more difficult as he loses another spot and is now 2 spots behind Andrew Bedrossian as he sees the 5 car of Bedrossian drive away in the distance. Competitive all throughout the field here. Look at Rich Foligno getting right on the back bumper of David Lakey. We're 2 rows of 2 wide here. Christopher Mitchell still a lap down, but going to try to weave his way through here to get himself favorable positioning if we get another caution to try to get back on the lead lap. Whoa, there goes Crocker down to the inside. He might get the move done on. Oh, he locks up. Locks up, trying to avoid Mitchell. Comes to a standing stop. What's happening with Lulick? Lulick down to the inside of Anderson once again. I think Trevor fought him back here off the exit of that last chicane into the hairpin, but Justin again getting the better of him. But here comes Trevor Anderson. What's he going to be able to do with the slipstream? That is Justin. Here is Trevor on board with the 25, trying to keep with Andrew Bedrossian as best he can, trying to stay in that vicinity. Up front a little ways, the battle side by side for second. Bedrossian down to the inside of the 91 car, going a little bit loose in the chicane. He wipes out. He goes off the exit just like Salvatore did in the early portions of the race. Gives the spot back to Salvatore. He's going to lose a couple seconds as well. How long is that penalty from iRacing going to serve for? Because if he still has to woe up, Trevor Anderson's right there. Trevor, who just got Justin into the very same chicane, could go 2 for 2, just as we saw a little bit earlier, and only a couple of corners. That was David Pax that parked on the exit of the pit lane here. I don't know if he's just letting the lead lap cars by. I guess he is. I guess this race kind of a write-off for David Pax, who just went off a couple moments ago. Back on to the leaders there. Tim Salvatore, what has happened to him? Tim's gone off again. Tim Salvatore, just a moment ago, we saw on my telemetry, went off track. It was actually, I think, him and David Paxton who did come together. No, what in the world? Tim Salvatore just locked up off the exit of turn number 1. This was attempting to chasing down nobody. He was all by himself, well clear of Andrew Bedrossian there after that pass in the chicane, and just wiped out. Took too much curb in turn number 1. I completely missed out on that, but we come back live, and now Tim's all the way down in 11th, so crazy stuff happening here as we go on at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Look at this battle for second, too. Trevor is, again, got right up to the back bumper of Andrew thanks to that penalty on the last lap. Justin Lewick is still in contention. That's Tanner Dignard there in 5th, who, again, as I said before, could definitely pick up some spots here in the championship. He's not too far back. He's within the slipstream on Justin Lewick. Side by side go Michael Nickel and Fred Zufelt there. Back for 6th position. Trevor not able to get the move done on Andrew as we come across the line for lap number 18 here, as Logan Paxton just took the start-finish line just a moment ago. Actually, lap number 19. So we are coming to the halfway point tonight. What an action-packed 19 laps it's been so far. Again, Trevor Anderson, your championship contender, alongside Andrew Bedrossian, keeping with him, keeping him honest. Logan Paxton running a race best 133 flat. It has been a flat-out dominant performance for your 3-time champion at the front of the field. But again, this is the more relevant battle tonight. And how cool, it would have been really cool actually if this battle for the championship was also the battle for the race lead. For the time being, that seems to be pretty much solely locked up by the number 16. Just a moment ago, we saw somewhere on track an incident between Nickel, Hillier, and Zufelt, it would seem. That's Nickel. Whoa, that's Mitch Morrow going real deep on the brakes. Gets the move done, actually, incredibly so. I guess they consider Michael Nickel going wide to be an incident. I don't know why my telemetry feels the need to say a car has crashed every time they go a little bit wide off track, but whatever the reasoning, further back, we got a battle there for 5th. Michael Nickel got a pretty good run off the chicane, and so did Mitch Morrow. Is that, oh, Mitch Morrow's a lap down. Okay, that's going to change things a little bit. Nickel down to the inside. This hairpin's been a great passing zone all race, and it proves it again. The 23 car getting the better of Mr. Tanner Dignard, but actually not a great runoff at all. Kept it really tight. Didn't let the car wash out, and as a result, sapped all of his speed and his momentum off the corner away. They are side by side. Going to do a quick check here up front. Anderson won't get the move done here into the chicane, so we go back to this battle. Side by side, they go past the camera into the chicane. This has been a crucial spot all night. The Wall of Champions, and Nickel does get the pass done. Moves up into 5th from 15th at the drop of the green flag. What a comeback it's been from Michael Nickel. And now we start lap number 20. Going to be halfway through the race at the end of this lap. And what a drive it's been for Michael Nickel, among other drivers here. Some notable improvements have also been Justin Lewick, of course, up from 10th all the way into 4th here. Narrowly behind this battle for 2nd. Again, your 2 championship contenders followed by a non-championship contending driver, but it's going to kind of throw a wrench in the plans of these two gentlemen because they know Justin Lewick has no stake over the overall big picture championship. He is just worried about a good performance tonight. And Trevor Anderson got a much better run off that last corner than Andrew Bedrossian did. Could this be the pass attempt for Trevor to start that backwards momentum for Andrew that he's going to need if he wants to win the championship? Off to the outside goes Trevor. And no dice, no daylight there, but that was a pretty good runoff as well. This might be his opportunity. This has been the passing zone all day. This hairpin there down off onto the lead straight, the turn number 11, I believe it is. All the way to the outside. He's going to focus on his runoff. Andrew bobbles a little bit, but that means actually Trevor Anderson has to check up to avoid contact. So really not that advantageous for Trevor to take that outside move, though I think it was pretty clever strategically. Here we go. The weaving begins. Andrew Bedrossian back and forth, trying to break the slipstream however he can. I think Trevor's going to get it done here. If he can just peek to the inside, he's going to go to the outside. Inside. Here he comes. Who's going to get the better of it? Justin Lewick there is still right behind. Whoa, Andrew, they both make it through. Great piece of driving from both drivers, but Andrew did not get a great jump off the corner. Here comes Justin Lewick. Lulick with no stake in the championship battle. He's going to push for everything he's worth. On board with Lulick into turn number 1. Lulick on the inside, washes out a little bit. Anderson keeps it on the outside. Bedrossian, I don't know how he got such a great braking zone, or such a good braking point into turn number 1. I thought for sure one of those two guys was getting by him, but we hold off, and wow. What a great battle that was for a couple turns. My mouth is already getting dry. This has been a crazy race, but yeah, incredibly, somehow we keep the exact same order there from 2nd to 4th from that last lap by, despite all that crazy battling. But Trevor Anderson tonight is showing pace that we didn't see in practice or qualifying. Trevor in the race just seems to be a different beast. Meanwhile, up front, just a reminder that again, we have another driver in this top 4 here, besides the 5 we've mainly talked about, that being Bedrossian, Anderson, Lulick, Nickel, and Dignard. Fred Zufelt has gone off track somewhere off the exit, I believe, of turn number 4. We're going to quickly go to a replay on that as the gap, the interval between the battle between 2nd, 3rd, and 4th is split up a little bit. So we'll go to this. David Lakey running off the pace for whatever reason there, and whoa, there you go. He was running off the pace there in turn number 6. That was turn number 7 that Zufelt went around in. So weird series of events there. I don't know why Lakey was running off the pace there, but for whatever reason, he is going to continue on. So Lakey up there in 10th, Zufelt in 11th. There's Marshall Crocker Sr. trying to track him down in 12th. After this battle, though, we finished the lap to start lap number 22, and okay, the battle's kind of calmed down a little bit, so we have a little bit of time to look elsewhere. Maybe go to this battle. Tim Salvatore again has gone off the exit of that final chicane. He's trying to track down Dan Skilton, muster up a good finish as best he can. You can see Tanner Dignard there in the background. I don't think a top 5 with the pace we know Tim Salvatore has from earlier. I don't think a top 5 is out of the equation, but too much better than that is going to be tough. Go on board with Tim Salvatore, who's trying to chase down Dan Skilton, who is running fairly comparable lap times here, at least the last couple laps by. Back up a little ways further, we're going to go to Trevor Anderson, who again continues to sit about 5 or 6 tenths back of Andrew Bedrossian. Even closer than that is Justin Lulick. Michael Nickel, though, has had some issues. He's off track. The final driver of the top 5 goes back to the pits, and just like that, another major contender is out later in the later stages of this race as we get past the halfway point. We saw it last week at, not last week, the week before at Mosport. Several contenders for the win, including at one point Michael Nickel getting involved in wrecks, but Michael went on to win that race. Just got a little bit loose there in turn number 4 and 5. Slapped the outside wall there off in turn number 5, and that gave him too much considerable suspension damage on the right side, where that car just ground to a halt. You can hear the engine trying to rev, but the wheel's just not going anywhere. Just like that, that'll put Tanner Dignard up into 5th, and Rich Foligno actually having a very quietly great day. He's currently sitting in 6th, and the way he's going, ran a full second quicker than Tanner that last time by. Rich Foligno could find himself in the top 5 before this race is over. Of course, I never want to jinx anybody, and Rich is somebody who's not immune to bad luck, as we see him slide through the final chicane that has been proving rather troublesome for a number of drivers, and there goes Dan Skilton. So I'm just going to stop showing certain drivers that I jinx a lot, and hoping that that frequent commentator jinx that I happen to give guys starts to go away. I'm curious to know if there's any science behind that, or if that is purely random. Maybe somewhere out there in the ethos, they hear me mention something about them, and it gets in these drivers' heads. Down pit road comes your race leader, Logan Paxa, who did not pit under the caution. Decides to pit now in an off-strategy maneuver. If we don't get a caution, this is going to be the move that, despite all his incredible pace, is going to rob him of the race win. I don't know if this whole strategy call was intentional to make sure that that battle for the championship, that battle between Bedrossian and Anderson, became the battle for the lead. But whatever it was that made him do it, he is going to come out I'm going to guess somewhere in the ballpark of 10, 12 seconds back of Andrew Bedrossian. But honestly, a fresh set of rubber on that number 16 car with the pace he's had so far. Don't be surprised if Logan Paxton gets all the way back up into that lead pack battle and gives some competition there to your top 3 of Bedrossian, Anderson, and Luick, who all still sit within 1.8 seconds of each other. Further back here, Tim Salvatore again continues to track down Dan Skilton there after that washout wide in the exit of that final chicane. Somebody went off there just a moment ago. Was that Michael Nickel has gone off track? Jack Hillier's gone off. I don't know who that was. Maybe it was David Paxa. No, David Paxa just passed Michael Nickel. That was the second and final crash of the race for Michael Nickel, although we should have one more quick repair, so could potentially get back in it. But what happened to the 23? Whoa! Crazy fishtailing there. Crazy. He just parked it. I don't know if he had a hardware issue or something internet related. Has he left the session? He is not. He's still in the pits. So weird stuff here in this series sometimes, and that would be one of them. Just crazy fishtailing there off the exit of turn number 5 into the turn 6 braking zone. Just he got the car woed up in time. He just, for whatever reason, didn't take the corner, drove off track, and reset back to pit road. So weird stuff there from him. Jack Hillier as well has had a bit of an incident. He is still sitting back there in 16th. Meanwhile, again, this battle between Skilton and Salvatore. Here comes Tim. Got a much better run off that final chicane in turn number 16. Might have a shot into the turn 1 braking zone. Down to the inside. Going to take a peek. No, Dan Skilton late on the brakes. Capitalizes on that more the more primary outside line there. The more optimal line when it comes to trying to take the apex there. So he does capitalize on that. Now Tim Salvatore will settle in here. Not too far behind. A small mistake or a small slip up here from Dan Skilton in this corner could get Tim a shot, but this is not an easy passing zone here into turn number 7. Is he going to try it? He peeked to the outside, thought about jumping down the inside there into the left-hander, but no. Dan Skilton, great defensive positioning. And he will hold on to the race lead for the time being. Or not the race lead, the lead of this battle, I should say. That being the battle for 6th. Back up to the front. Our new race leader after Logan Pax's pit stop, and of course the championship leader prior to tonight, Mr. Andrew Bedrossian. He has finally gotten free of Trevor Anderson within slipstream range, and now he can just focus on running some good lap times and trying to break away as best he can. Tim Salvatore got the move done just a moment ago on Dan Skilton in that number 9 and 10 chicane. So off goes Tim Salvatore to try to track down the next driver, that being Tanner Dignard, 5 seconds up the road, which sounds like quite a bit, but there's a fair bit of time here. 15 now. Still 15 laps to go here. So that is about 25 minutes, and that is plenty of time for Tim Salvatore to make up 5 seconds. As we see in the background there, Dan Skilton staying close, but I feel like the way Tim's taking these turns when he gets in a rhythm, the amount of pace he had in qualifying to start in the front row, I'm confident Tim Salvatore can start to break away here a little bit. Back to this battle, though. This battle for second, that is the last thing Trevor Anderson wants to be occupied with right now, because he's watching his championship rival, Andrew Bedrossian, to sail away in the distance. You see him there on the left side of your screen going away. That red number 5 car is starting to break away, and once Justin Luick catches up to Trevor, forces him onto the defensive, forces him off the optimal racing line for a single driver, that is when his chances at a championship might officially go down the drain. And Logan Pax is catching both these guys and your race leader. Logan Pax is running about equal to Andrew, if not a little bit faster, and he's got 15 laps to do so. The pace he's running right now, of course, he does have to get by drivers, which is going to slow his lap times down, but Logan is still very much in contention for the win here. But no, in this battle for the lead here between Andrew and Trevor, it is 2.5 seconds between the two of them, and that is comfortably away from slipstream range. So you got to think for Trevor Anderson, his only hope really lies in a mistake from Andrew, or finding just an amount of pure pace that we really haven't seen anybody except Logan Paxa and Andrew Bedrossian be able to harness tonight. Final chicane here, turns 15 and 16. Great run off for Trevor Anderson. Laid on the brakes there for Justin Luick into the chicane, but much better run off for Trevor Anderson. So really everywhere on track besides this battle for the lead, as you'll see as we go to the track map, or again, the battle for second, I should say. There's not really any competitive battling on track whatsoever. Everybody's within about 3 seconds of each other, so nothing all too exciting to report in that regard. For the 4 and 5 chicane here is, again, Justin Luick, who's really had a weird season. I mean, he's sitting fairly competitive in that midfield section of the point standings, but he's missed a number of races. He's had quite a few incidents in the later stages of races that have unfortunately meant that he's effectively DNF'd. But no, when he's on his game, when he knows what he's doing, Justin Lewick can really rattle off good results. He's got a podium this season. He could be going for his second of the year, provided he's able to either get by Trevor Anderson or hold off Logan Paxo, which again I think is going to be easier said than done, as Logan ran the fastest lap of anybody on that last time by for the 4th straight lap. But Justin is starting to get in a bit of a rhythm here. He's getting close enough to Trevor that I would have thought the slipstream would be helping him more. Actually, a much better run into the corner there. How about the run off? Not too bad. So I think about 0.5 of a second back on Trevor here. That's going to help him, but the problem is I think you need to be within about 4 or 5 of the driver in front, like right off the exit of the corner, to get close enough with the slipstream, whereas you can get much closer if you're within about 8, maybe 5 to 8 back. You can start to make up some ground here. Whoa. Very late breaking point into that final chicane there for Justin Lewick. You can make up quite a bit of ground in that 5 to 8 back kind of range there behind the next driver, but if you want to make a pass, you really got to be within 3 or 4 into that final hairpin. And that just is proving easier said than done for a lot of guys tonight, because that's kind of the most optimal passing zone. So if you go for a move and it fails, then you find yourself behind the driver you've just attempted to pass by an even larger margin than before you tried the pass. And if you do get the pass made and you get by, well, typically you're quite a ways ahead because the driver in behind has to take a wider exit that he wasn't anticipating off the corner, and that kind of robs him of speed off the exit of the turn. So generally speaking, what I'm trying to say is it's very hard to get in range for that long straightaway to make the pass, but once you're within about 3 or 4 even despite the weaving to try to break the draft we saw earlier, it's just not very realistic that you're going to get by. So Justin Lewick there continues to sit in 3rd, though, and the lap times aren't slowing, although that gap is actually opening up a little bit. Trevor Anderson much better through the infield that last time by. Sorry, by the infield, I mean those tighter, lower-paced kind of chicane sections in the middle of the lap. Back up front, Andrew Bedrossian again, continuing to chug away. Now only 12 laps away from his first career series championship. And what a way to do it, too. Again, I don't know what the deal was with that Logan Pax pit stop there late, but if he is able to get all the way back up to challenge Andrew for the win, and Andrew's able to win the race and the championship, well, just imagine what that does overall for him, for the self-confidence, for the proof of everything he's done in this series since he got here. To not only prove that he can win this season, but he can prove he can win a season even with Logan Paxton in the series, as he was not this season. And to beat the 3-time series champion in the race that crowns you as the champion of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series, what a night that would be for Andrew. So we will see how that turns out. Again, the question is, can Logan make up that ground? Is he sitting about 8 seconds back, somewhere in that vicinity? So not too bad whatsoever for Logan. The amount of pace he's already made up since pitting, I think going back about 10 or 11 seconds there by the time he exited the pits. Again, though, Justin's getting close here. We're going forward here for just another moment. I'm taking another quick drink here and just keep an eye on this battle, as again, I think that the first real passing opportunity is going to be into the hairpin here in just a moment, and then that long straightaway and the runoff to the final 2 turns. Whoa, here we go. This is finally the move. The mistake from Trevor Anderson for just a split second. I look up from changing a camera, and suddenly Trevor Anderson has bobbled on the entry to that chicane. Here we go. Justin Lewick down to the inside. He's going to try it. The best chance he's had all race. Off the exit, Lewick beats him on the exit. But Trevor Anderson got a much better runoff momentum-wise. So the crossover there from Justin Lewick peaked underneath, slowed both drivers up. That's going to give Logan Paxa a valuable 10th. He's within a second and a half of this battle. But Trevor to the outside. This is what I was talking about before. If Trevor can just set it up there, get within 3 or 4 tenths back of the driver in front, this pass might be almost automatic. What will Justin do defensively to try to keep him off? But the question is, what really can he do? Here comes Trevor Anderson. He's trying to weave. Weaving is legal in this series, provided it's not in a defensive way that blocks the driver behind you. So here we go. Justin Lewick, it was effective, though, does manage to stave off the run there from Trevor Anderson. But here comes Paxa. Logan Paxa, who, if he wants the race lead, if he wants to go challenge former rival Andrew Bedrossian for the race win, he's going to need to get by this battle quickly and as swiftly as he can. Right up behind the back bumper of Trevor Anderson. Trevor doesn't want to make this any more complicated than it has to be. And I'm sure even if he can't go for the championship win, he at minimum wants to get a podium in his final race. And that is going to be easier said than done with two extremely talented, extremely fast veterans of the series, and Logan Paxa and Justin Lewick, who've now run the series for over 3 years. Both guys running very similar car colors. Going to make it tough to get out of here, but Trevor Anderson's doing a great job there. Actually got a better run again off the turn. Could he get Justin back in the exact same spot? Justin just passed him. The entry to this turn number 8 and 9 chicane. Here comes Trevor. He's going to back off. Not going to try it yet. I think that's a smart veteran move there. Again, the 3 cars going to shoot by the camera. What a battle we're seeing here for second, third, and fourth. Logan's going to get a run. He jumps to the inside. He's committed. Trevor's going to the outside. Is Logan going to go 2 for 1? Thought about it, I think, but no, backs off instead. Lewick goes wide. Paxa will get the move done. Anderson will try to go with him, so Paxa's by. Logan Paxa gets the move done on Lewick, but he's right in front. He is going to be easy slipstream bait for the 55. He's going to hug the inside. Great positioning off the corner. Got right next to the barrier. Didn't give Lewick any momentum. Trevor Anderson, here he comes. We could go 3 wide into the chicane. We won't, but side by side go Paxa and Lewick. Paxa and Lewick. Whoa, they tapped. Lewick taps the back quarter panel of Logan Paxa. The 16 car with all the momentum he made back up. All of the talk that he could potentially go for the race win again. All that goes away with the tiniest tap. They tried to go 2 wide through that final chicane. I don't think I've ever seen it done on iRacing. They got close, but a little bit of contact. And suddenly that 55 car finds himself behind the 8 ball once again. Or sorry, not the 55, the 16, I should say. After that earlier pit stop, strategy confusion. Again, I don't know if that was intentional or if that was an intentional move, or sorry, an accidental thing or an intentional move to keep himself out of the battle for the win and in turn the championship. Whatever it was, Logan Pax's shot at the win essentially goes up in smoke, with Andrew Bedrossian seeing that in his relative box that tells him what's going on track. Some part of him will know that as long as we don't get a caution and he doesn't make a mistake, he could win the final race of the season. And what a great way that would be to cap off his championship contention. This is a battle happening a lap down, but Christopher Mitchell and Mitch Morrow are going side by side here, the battle of the Mitches in some capacity. And there goes Mitch Morrow down the inside of Christopher Mitchell, but a better runoff for the 94 car. We could still see a pass into the hairpin. Only 4 tenths separating Lewick and Anderson in that battle for second, so we'll go to that in just a moment. But they're side by side again. Into the hairpin, outside 94, inside 66. They make a little bit of contact. Morrow just shoves them off. That was extremely aggressive. I don't know if there's some sort of rivalry going on here between these two gentlemen, but we saw Mitch Morrow just run right up the back of Christopher Mitchell earlier in the race. Again, don't know if he just missed a breaking point or what happened there, but again, there is now kind of a precedent here for contact between these two drivers. Where did Trevor Anderson go? Just a split second ago, he was only a half second back. Now he's at 1.7 second disadvantage to Justin Lewick. I think it must have been here in the hairpin. Yeah, this is crucial. This could officially be the move that ends Trevor Anderson's shot at even a second place tonight, at trying to finish runner-up to his championship rival. He just got loose off the corner. That was it. Great piece of driving there to save it, though. Let's go to the onboard cockpit view from Trevor. I just want to. I'm always happy to highlight good driver hands. Guys that are focused, are heads up, and are able to keep the car under them even when it gets loose. Oh, perfect save there from Trevor Anderson. Again, that could have been a whole lot worse. And if he went all the way around, might have made himself fodder for Logan Paxa there to potentially lose yet another spot there and go back out of the top 3 in the podium spots. But back up front, could this have gone any better, the later portions of this race for Andrew Bedrossian? I mean, lap 33 now. Back when that caution started, it looked like it was the Logan Paxa show. It looked like there was no situation or no scenario in which Andrew was able to make up that much ground. I think it was 15 seconds at the time of the caution, up to Logan, go for the win, cap it off the best way he possibly could in what could be a championship season for him. But he did the smart thing. He waited on the restart. He stayed pretty aggressive, but he kept out of trouble. And when Logan finally did pit, giving Andrew the lead, he has not looked back, hasn't made any mistakes. And now the 5 car finds himself just a couple laps away from capping the season off with his 4th win of the year, en route to potentially his first championship in the series. Back to this battle, though. Trevor Anderson, who was a second and a half, well, actually closer to 1.8 seconds back, I should say, of Justin Lewick there after that spin off of the hairpin. He has since recovered to within half that gap. Now 9/10 separating him and Justin. So I was curious comparatively when these guys just got by themselves. The slipstream was out of the equation. Which of these guys was faster on track? And actually, Trevor Anderson just ran a quicker lap time than Logan Paxa did that last time by. And again, we don't know if there's damage for Logan from either Justin Lewick's contact or the outside wall when he did spin. But whatever's going on for Logan, he is not making up time to the guy sitting in 3rd. So the chances for Logan to even come home with a podium tonight, which would have seemed like a sure thing 20 laps ago, even that is now in question. This is a battle between Tim Salvatore and Tanner Dignard for the final spot in the top 5. Tanner looked really loose there coming into turn number 6. So here comes Salvatore. He's going to take a shot here into the turn number 8 and 9 chicane. Is he going to peek to the outside, inside? Whoa, late block there by Tanner, but an effective one, keeping the 91 behind him. We're going to watch this battle as it comes up into the hairpin again. Only a 10 separating these two. Salvatore going to go right to the inside. Is not going to wait around this time for that late defensive block by Dignard. Keeps it on the inside. All Tanner can do is try to maximize his run. The guy on the inside is going to get around you every time here in the hairpin. Gets a little bit loose, and I think that should comfortably give the spot over to Tim Salvatore. So Tim Salvatore, who has, again, had a pretty up-and-down season, didn't make it out to every race, but if he had, would have been a championship contender. Not going to be a bad way to end off the year with both a front row starting spot in qualifying and a top 5 in the race if he can hold on to it. Tanner Dignard was making up a little bit of ground there into the final chicane, but actually, no, got a better runoff for sure. Tim Salvatore did not get a great runoff that second half into the wall of champions off the exit of the chicane there. A little ways further up front, Lewick and Anderson still within half a second of each other. We're side by side again, but no. Salvatore prioritized taking the inside line defensively, and yeah, not really a passing corner here for a couple more turns. So Tim Salvatore can just buckle down, try to focus up, and try to break away as best he can. Back on board here with Trevor Anderson, driver the number 25 again. Even if the championship may be out of reach here, as again, he needed to beat Andrew Bedrossian by maybe 6 or 7 spots, depending on where bonus points fell. Well, now Andrew's got the bonus point for leading lap, probably going to lead the most laps. And Trevor is unfortunately not leading the race by his championship pursuit standards. So, well, the battle for second has been fun all race, and Lewick locks up a little bit. You saw a little bit of tire smoke there into the braking point. So here we go. Anderson within 3, maybe 4/10 of a second here off the exit. He's going to be close. Don't know if it's enough to make the move, but you know Trevor, as at minimum a consolation, wants to come home for second here, if at all possible. Bedrossian up front, just about to cross the line to start the 36th lap. It'll be 5 to go when he does. Both drivers pretty clean through the final chicane. Justin Lewick just a little bit tighter, so 4/10 is the gap at the line here. What a battle this has been, and Logan Paxa back within about 4.7 seconds, but again, that progress he was making so much of earlier has kind of stalled out. Now that number 16 car may need to settle for at best a top 5, which still isn't bad, but is not going to be enough to give him a podium. What a night it's been overall, ladies and gentlemen, and just hopefully I've touched upon pretty much everything here. I'm trying to go around the field and trying to give a little bit of a final season wrap up for a couple of these drivers here who have had good years. And at the moment here, we can't really go away from this battle, but I want to talk about a few guys here throughout the field that I've been really impressed with, as again, we continue to watch this and see if Trevor Anderson is able to track down Justin Lewick here for second. But guys like Fred Zufeld there made his debut at the series this season. He's a guy I've raced against a couple times in just some casual leagues last year, but he came in this season and was immediately impressive. Remember all the way back at Phoenix, he got a top 5 in his very first race in the series, and he just never slowed down since then. He came out to a bunch of practices. He's a really committed guy to his racing craft and this series. And he's only improved here at the road courses, and I'm so impressed with what I've seen from him this season. Same with Dan Skilton. Was so fast at Road America. Was really impressive back at Mosport. So Dan Skilton and Fred Zufeld, both rookies to the series this season, both racing veterans, and they've both been a ton of fun to watch. I sincerely thank both of them for joining the series this year and for making it really fun to watch here for some really fun kind of 4th and 5th range mid-pack battles this year. Tim Salvatore, again, didn't make it out to the full season, but I think next year, if he's able to commit to a full-time schedule in this series, could absolutely be a guy who was a breakout season, goes for 3 or 4 wins. He was in contention all throughout the beginning of the season. Again, Monza was maybe his race to win there late if it weren't for that wreck he had with Andrew Bedrossian. He's been extremely impressive. Tanner Dignard as well. He is just such a quietly fast driver. Really consistent, really fun to watch. I've heard really good things from other drivers about racing with Tanner. Tanner Dignard, I wish you the very best of luck with your season this year in the real-world racing environment, and I'm really excited to see what he does in his, I think it'd be his 3rd season in the series if he comes back next year. Same with Mitch Morrow. What can you say about Mitch that hasn't already been said by me on this very broadcast? A number of podiums at this point in the season. He got almost one last week, though he did come home for 4th. Arguably should have gotten his first career win at Mosport had it not been for a wreck with a lap car. Just so much good to say about him. Of course, getting podiums this season in your rookie year at such a young age comparatively to a lot of the more experienced drivers in the series. There's a ton to be said about that. It's been a great year for Mitch Morrow. We got to watch this battle. Actually, that was the best run Trevor Anderson had into the hairpin all race so far. So Andrew Bedrossian, he's solid a ways up the field. He is going to come to 3 laps to go here this time by, but this battle is not over. I wonder if Trevor's just kind of biding his time here to these last couple laps. Maybe he knows that as soon as he gets by, if he passes here, well, he's at the whim of Justin Lewick into this next braking zone into turn number 1. Trevor is running impressively well. This has been so close, there's no real reason to jump away from it. But other than that, same with David Lakey and Nick Nickerson, of course, who was not able to run tonight. Really wish we'd had all 3 of our championship-eligible drivers here, but he couldn't make it out last week, couldn't make it out this week. But what a year it was. Thank you so much, Nick, for joining the series, for winning your very first race, 2 on the season. It was a ton of fun to watch there at the beginning. Very clearly talented in anything he runs, from stock cars to open-wheel cars. And, of course, David Lakey getting his first career win in the series. Almost won at Indianapolis, won at Auto Club. He's extremely fast in the larger ovals there in the Formula Renault cars. A very tough discipline to learn, but he figured it out to a T. And both of those drivers were so much fun to watch, and I can't wait to bring him back in the stock car side of things here in the Bandit Racing League starting on Wednesday. Jack Hillier joined us in the booth a number of times this season. It was so awesome to talk to him all those races, and his performances in the bigger ovals, including I think he led a lap there at Indianapolis. He was so competitive there, and it was truly incredible to watch. He's got a ton of potential, and I really hope he improves upon it this season. Really hope he enjoys his karting endeavors, because of course he does race with Canadian Mini Indy, as a variety of other drivers do. So best of luck to him in the future. Michael Nickel, unfortunately tonight just wasn't the season the season ender he was hoping for, but should still come home in 4th overall in points. And what an effort he's put in this year. Came away with 2 wins on the season, was super competitive in practice, ran some great lap times, qualified on the front row a few times. Michael Nickel is probably the most consistently fast-paced rookie here. Tied for the most wins among any rookie with Nick with 2. Just a great year. Kind of a part of that first-year driver insurgence we saw this season that we really haven't had in past years. So Michael, can't wait to see him come back next year. Could absolutely be a contender for a series championship in the future. Rich Foligno, again, just the bad luck has to end at some point. Rich Foligno, extremely talented, was putting the work all season in practice, won a ton of practice races, and just it never seemed to convert into the real world. But he's going to get that win sometime, and when he does, I would not be surprised if he rattles off 2 or 3 in a season. To my father, Marshall Crocker Sr. as well, I sincerely thank him for everything he does in the series. I know he puts in a ton of effort as well. He's going to come away today, it looks like, with the top 10 to round off his season, so not a bad way to end the year. Should bump him up a couple spots in the overall standings. I thank him for supporting the series on both the tech side and on track from that perspective. But same with Justin Lewick, extremely talented driver, again, as he battles it out with Trevor Anderson to finish off tonight's race. I'm putting this battle up in the background because really what needs to be said about it that you guys can already see. What a battle to the finish we're going to see between these 2 drivers. Christopher Mitchell as well, first-time rookie this season. He got a pole to his name this year. Was really competitive in the practice races. Was really quick this week in practice. Unfortunately, that early wreck with Mitch Morrow pretty much put him out of the race, but it was a great year from him from start to finish. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. Hopefully I went over pretty much everybody, and of course your championship contenders, Trevor Anderson, and finally the guy who's coming to the white flag as we speak, This battle's going to go side by side, or it almost did, into the final chicane. One more lap for the battle for second, but the white flag for Andrew Bedrossian. The story for Andrew has been building over 3 seasons now. Andrew joined us at the tail end of the Cards to Computers Series Season 2. He ran a number of races there. It was a lot of fun to watch there at the Ovals. He and Michael Krobach teamed up a number of times. He's almost been in the series for every season we've ever run, made some one-off appearances. Then he got into the series last year when he moved over to the Snowstorm Racing Series. That was when he really kicked it up a notch. That championship battle he had between himself and Logan Paxel was legendary last year, coming down to the final race. Of course, Logan did get the better of him in that affair and did come away with the championship win then, but he left the series this year, and Andrew kind of had a lot of pressure to deal with. He became, by default, the top dog. He had a ton of competition to deal with. Nick Nickerson, Trevor Anderson, Tim Salvatore. But he picked it up in the moments he had to. He was clutch when he needed to be. And now, as he comes into the hairpin the final time to cap a season off with a win in the final race, with 4 wins on the season, what a way to end the year. Trevor Anderson has gone off, but so has Lewick. They just made contact in that battle for second. Logan Pax is chasing them quite quickly. He could still come away with a podium. But we've got to go to this man off of the hairpin for the final time. Is going to become second all-time in Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series and Cards to Computers Racing Series wins combined behind Logan Paxa. He'll beat his former championship rival tonight, and off the final 2 turns, past the wall of champions, he will be a champion. The run to the line, Andrew Bedrossian is a first-time champion in the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series, the second in history, and he'll cap it off with a win. He's going to pull to a halt at the start-finish line. New champion, Mr. Andrew Bedrossian, driver the number 5. To the line comes the battle for second place. Side by side go Lewick and Anderson. Lewick gets the better of him, comes away with second. We're going to go back and replay that whole battle. We got to figure out what happened with those 2 gentlemen. There's the finish. Logan almost made up the gap, but we have a new champion. That is the more important thing we need to go to. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that was extremely loud there for just a moment. I don't know why that audio source played that loud. Sorry about that, but we have a new champion. Congratulations to Andrew Bedrossian. There's a number of drivers there parking behind him, all getting in a bit of a line here, maybe to congratulate him. Justin Lewick and Trevor Anderson almost coming away with the win earlier on. Some great battles we saw between these 2 throughout the night, but in the end, it is that man, Andrew Bedrossian from Marblehead, Massachusetts. He came into tonight 21 points clear of Trevor. He had to fight back. Nick led the points for quite a while. Tim did for a brief period of time. Trevor did late in the season, but with his 4th win, 8th top 5. What a year by Andrew. That was a championship season if I've ever seen one. And just like that, he would go down in history as the 2nd ever champion in the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series. He's getting cut off a little bit here by the graphic, but genuinely, you know, what more can you say about the season Andrew's had? Just incredible job there. We'll move him up a little bit. Again, your top 3, they're just chilling out a little bit. I'd imagine it's been a very hectic hour and a half for these gentlemen. It's not an easy track, extremely technical. The fact that Andrew was able to break away as far as he was tonight is truly complimentary of the skills that he has, and what a race, what a season for Andrew, and to beat Logan Pax again, his former championship rival. Of course, strategy played a part in that for sure, but it's got to feel good for him. Got to be a really good passing of the torch moment for Andrew. So there you go, everybody. Hopefully we can get some congratulations there for your new champion, Andrew Bedrossian, there in the chat. But your top 3 are just going to bring it to the line, I'd imagine, and we'll get a final celebration there and some final thoughts here from, again, your new champion, Mr. Andrew Bedrossian. We'll go to your final results here in just a second as well, but really the first thing we want to do is go to your new champion. And, well, as we always do in the series, we always like to end it off with your final race winner, or in this case, your champion. So in a lot of series, you'd go to your champion first, very first interview, get his thoughts. But we'll give Andrew a second to compose his thoughts and compose himself after 3 very tough seasons in this series. And finally get the championship. We'll go to him last and make him the way we cap off the season. But we are going to go to your other podium sitters first, but you see in the background there as well your other drivers in tonight's race just pulling into the pits. And really, if you're only joining us this season, you've only made it out to a couple races, or in fact, if this is your first ever race you've watched with us in this series, to say that Andrew is the most deserving guy who could possibly have won tonight is not an understatement. Just he's put in so much work. He comes out to almost every practice. He has for 3 seasons now. Now we'll see the burnouts for your season finale race winner and your new champion. Just what a year. You know, it really wasn't going to be easy for him to adjust to a new car, to go to a bunch of ovals that are very competitive, really squish the field together. You know, his skill set, which really does lie in the Formula cars and the high-speed road course racing side of things, it was going to be tough to adjust to a season with half ovals, but he did. He won at ovals when he needed to and beat some incredibly talented drivers to win it. So the 5 car going to pull it to a halt here. In the background there, you see actually Trevor Anderson's doing some victory burnouts of his own. He's going to come join the top 3 here on the, well, just after the start-finish line there. There we go. Pull up in order. That's pretty clean. I like the way they did that. So, wow. Just taking a moment here for myself to compose my thoughts and give myself a break, because, wow. Well, we will go to your final results here. Overall, we're going to go through the entire rest of the field, and then after that, we will do your final interview here with your top 3. Race winner and your new champion in the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series for Season 2. Andrew Bedrossian wins it at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. A clutch performance there at the end. Ran away from that battle for second that ended in very exciting fashion, following Justin Lewick in second. A great performance for him, his best of the year. The 55 car showing his pace there, and a great 30-plus lap battle with Trevor Anderson that went down to the wire, separated by half a tenth of a second. Trevor Anderson comes home in third on, well, a night that was going to be very important for him in his battle for the championship. Unfortunately, didn't turn out the way he needed it to, but did absolutely everything he could, showed great speed there in the race, and he beats a former champion of the series in Logan Paxa, who finishes 4th. So there are many worse ways to cap off your season than that. Tim Salvatore finishes in the 5th spot, getting a top 5 to round off his season again. An incredibly talented driver, incredibly fast all year. He picked up wins at certain points. Would not be at all surprised to see him become the 3rd champion in series history in the future. Tanner Dignard, a great way to end off his season. He finishes in 6th ahead of Dan Skilton and Fred Zufelt in 7th and 8th. And it's David Lakey finishing narrowly ahead of Marshall Crocker Sr. Actually, that would have been that was just finishing barely behind Fred Zufelt. Marshall Crocker Sr. a little ways back, the final driver on the lead lap to finish in the top 10s. Then Christopher Mitchell, remember that earlier incident that kind of took him out of it, but has showed great pace all week in practice and in qualifying and in the race itself. Just unfortunately the way it turned out, he comes home in 11th. And it's David Paxa rounding off the season with a 12th place position, just ahead of Mitch Morrow, Jack Hillier in 14th, Michael Nickel, who left the race 8 laps before the finish, in 15th, and Rich Foligno, who becomes your 16th place driver in the season finale, leaving on lap number 26. And for the final time this season, there were your final results. Very quickly, we're just going to jump back to that battle at the very end between Justin Lewick and Trevor Anderson, just to get a quick recap there, because so much really went on in that final battle. So here's the initial contact they made into the chicane of turn number 8 and 9. Trevor just peeked to the inside, found a gap that maybe wasn't all the way there, but it was darn close. It's the final lap. You can only blame a driver so much. So Justin Lewick got back up to speed, continued on. I wonder if Trevor actually gave him the spot back. I think he... I don't know. Actually, just a really good run for Justin off the corner. I don't know. I think maybe Trevor did, but at very minimum, he just timed it to try to make sure he'd get the run off the corner. Justin went really wide there off the exit of the hairpin. But again, this final passing zone into the final chicane, this would have been a pretty impressive maneuver because he did come home in second. Trevor doesn't block the inside, puts it right in the middle of the track, maybe a little bit too confident that he'd get the move done. No, just doesn't block the inside, gives it to Lewick. Side by side into the braking zone they went. Lewick got the better of him. Perfectly nailed the brake. That was beautiful driving from Justin Lewick to bring it home there. And then, of course, the run to the finish line here. Going to go to the blimp camera to show you how close it was. Actually, the chopper camera will be a little bit closer. Going to go to the chopper camera to show you how close it was at the line. But what a great battle. They gave us something to talk about all the way through. Gave me a nice kind of background there to my final thoughts about each driver there at the very end. So, great battle there to the finish. Stellar way to end the season. But now it's time for your 3rd place interview. Again, we're going to go through your 2nd and 3rd place interviews and make Andrew the driver who rounds off the season and caps it off as the new champion. So, I'm just going to quickly make the graphic here for Trevor Anderson. And there we go. That should be it for Trevor. So for your first interview of the night here, the Bozeman, Montana native, one of your championship contenders tonight, unfortunately will not bring it home in the end, but does come home in second in what has been an incredibly fun championship battle all season and a great sophomore full season for Trevor Anderson. Let's get him in the broadcast booth for your first interview of the night. Hey Trevor, it's Marshall up at the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yep, I gotcha.
Welcome, Trevor. Man, that was so much fun to watch from start to finish. Man, it wasn't the championship winning performance to come to the end of the season that you might have hoped it was, but that was an incredible battle all the way through the 40 laps. It was everything you could have asked for. Andrew he kicked it into another gear at the end. But first of all, talk us through that battle there with Justin at the very end, because you guys were slugging it out for about 20 laps, and in those final couple corners, we saw the wreck. You get back up to speed. You passed Justin. He got you back. What was that final lap like to end off the season from your perspective?
Yeah, so I noticed we were starting to kind of catch Andrew, and I was like, well, if we have any hope to catch him at all, I'm just going to kind of sit behind him, let him do his thing, and I'll do my thing, and we'll just be a train running towards Andrew. And then, Andrew's just so freaking fast that we couldn't catch him. So I figured once it was the last lap, I was like, well, I got to go for it. And Justin just had a bad exit out of, I think it was turn 6 or 7. And so I was like, well, now's my chance. And I dove down onto the inside, and there just wasn't enough room. So, but it is what it is. It's good racing. And, I was just happy our cars were still rolling after that. I would have sucked to end the season on a wrecked car sitting in the grass. So just happy we could get going, and he had a better run off of me out of the hairpin, and I just didn't have anything for him through the chicane. But no, it was an awesome race, a ton of fun. It was cool being able to hang with Andrew for a while. I was hoping I had more for him, but I just couldn't hold on to it once the tires started to wear down. But anyway, it was just an awesome season by Andrew. He's so fast and just such a great driver. It's been a good time.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Andrew's an extremely fast guy and a great talent. But you, like you said, you were keeping with him tonight. And remember, all the way back to the All-Star race there, you chose tonight's race at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. You said it was a track you didn't even own yet, but you were really excited to learn it. What was that process like this week preparing for the finale? What was your practice attempts like? And then coming into tonight, just what was the strategy? What was the game plan to not only try to win the race, but to try to win the championship from Andrew?
Well, thankfully, I didn't do any premature practice, so I didn't have any practice in the other car. So I had a fresh start with the Pro Mazda, and it was kind of an adjustment, getting used to the car again. It's a little bit more mechanical grip compared to the Formula Renault, so that was kind of fun. I like how you can kind of slide it around a little bit more, and it's much more forgiving. So I really enjoy that kind of car. And the first time I got on the track, I just ran it until I was out of gas. So and that's kind of how I try to stay consistent, is just kind of work myself up until I run as long as I can on the gas that I have, and just get faster and faster. And then was that the other night when we were doing that open practice, I kind of realized, wow, these guys are a little bit faster than I anticipated. I felt like I was pretty fast in practice by myself, and Andrew was flying, so I knew I had to pick it up a little bit, and got home from work today and just ran some laps and finally got comfortable, saw what Andrew was doing, and just figured it out, I guess.
Yeah, it certainly seems like you did there. And again, just Trevor, I've said it many times, anytime you've been in the podium booth this season, which you have been a number of times, but this season really felt like a different Trevor than we saw last season. You were always a very patient guy, always extremely talented. You won at Belle Isle last year, which was probably the toughest track we ran all season there. So you come into this season, the consistency was still there, but that top-end performance, it's the best we've ever seen from you there, and that's the reason to the bitter end this season you fought with a guy as quick as Andrew. So just, kind of reflect on your time in the series, going from your second your first full season, your second. How do you feel like you've matured as a driver, and what do you think we'll see from you going forward? That do you think there is a chance you could get a follow up next season and beat Andrew in another 12 race season?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is just not beating myself up. Like this time last year at Laguna Seca, I had a similar incident to what I had early on in the race here, where I just spun all by myself, and last year I was beating myself up about that. I kept making mistakes the rest of the race, but this year, all season really, I make a mistake like that. It happens, and I try to brush it off a little bit more and just keep going. And I think that's led to a lot of my success this season. And I know there were a couple more mistakes that I could have, if I didn't let happen, I probably would have been even closer to Andrew. Maybe could have just had a 1-2 with him, and I could have had the championship. You never know. But so really, if I can just eliminate those mistakes and continue to get faster, I could be up there with him next year. We'll see.
Perfect. That's the confidence. That's the optimism I like to hear. So I think you're absolutely right. I think it's been incredible to watch this season, Trevor. It's really I've been so impressed from start to finish. I really hope next year that we see that Trevor we saw tonight, that like battling to the bitter end, giving Justin everything you have. I hope we see a lot more of that next year. And again, if you do make another full-time return, you and Andrew, I think, are going to have another great battle to the very end. So, well, you know what to do here, Trevor. You've probably made the most appearances of anybody in the podium in the broadcast booth this season. So, you know what to do. Give you your chance to give some shout-outs to friends and family at home for not just tonight, but for supporting you the entire season.
Yeah, I think my wife Sloan, she was watching my race on her phone while she was at work, so gotta love that. And my dad for always watching me race. And we're going to the Long Beach Grand Prix in a couple weeks, so I'm really excited about that. That's gonna be a ton of fun. I haven't been there in a few years. And then Brendan, back home, he's going to the Grand Prix with us actually. So thanks to him for watching, and my grandma Kathy, grandma Evelyn, and just everyone. Thanks to you, Marshall, for putting on such an awesome season. And I love this series. It's just a ton of fun. And thanks to Chris for being the steward for us. We couldn't do it without him. And yeah, just thank you, Marshall. It's been a lot of fun.
No, it's been a great pleasure, Trevor. It's so great to get to know you through this. I mean, being from two completely different places, we never would have had a chance to meet if it hadn't been for that Skippy series in which we first used to drive together, and then of course running the 24 last year, coming into this, and just watching you grow as a driver in front of my very eyes. So it's been so much fun to have you, Trevor. Shout out to your family for supporting you all season, for supporting the broadcast, and just what a year it's been, Trevor. You should be absolutely super happy, super proud of what you've accomplished this season, and I just can't wait to see where it goes in the future. So have a great time at the Long Beach Grand Prix. Enjoy it with the pals there, and just have a great rest of your year, man. And hopefully it's not going to be the next time we run this series that I talk to you and we get to do some racing. So have a great rest of your year, Trevor. I wish you the very best in the future.
Awesome, sounds good. Thank you, Marshall. You too.
And there you go, Trevor Anderson, championship runner-up in second place from Andrew Bedrossian, and your third place finisher in tonight's event. We're gonna have 4 interviews tonight, it would seem. So again, we'll try to get through them decently quick, but it's finale night. We can you guys can hopefully forgive the slightly longer post race here, but it's the final race of the season. It's just one of those situations. So here we go. Now on to your second place finisher tonight, Mr. Justin Lulick. What a drive from him this season, and or tonight specifically, but generally speaking, we've seen a couple of this quality from him overall this year. Bring him in the broadcast booth. Hey, Justin Marshall up in the broadcast booth. You get a copy?
I do, Marshall. How are you doing today?
I am doing pretty well, Justin. That was you have made the day so much better. That was an incredible battle to watch with you and Trevor. What a run to the line. We got to start there. But just talk us through your strategy. Those last couple corners, you guys come together there in turn 8 and 9, and the hairpin you swap around there, and one more time you nail it into the wall of champions. Just talk us through those last couple turns there.
Yeah, it was a great battle between Trevor and I. I mean, he raced cleanly the whole time. When we did make contact, unfortunately, it was a racing incident. I wouldn't put the blame on him whatsoever, or me for that matter. But we were both fighting for the same piece of real estate, and at the end of the day, that's when cars come together. And we were both able to luckily get out of that situation. I mean, that would have been an awful way to end it. And then I really thought I had him going into the hairpin. I thought I'd be able to be a little bit ahead of him. And as I was breaking into the corner, I kind of realized, you know what? I want to be behind him down the straight just to make sure that if anything happens, I have that DRS, or not DRS, the slipstream right behind him. And so what I did was I released the brake a little bit. I went a little bit wide, let him come under, and then I tried to chase him down, hoping I didn't lose too much time in that section.
And in the end, it pays off. I think it was a half a tenth to the line there between the two of you. And for Trevor, who unfortunately just wasn't able to compete with Andrew there towards the very end for the battle for the championship. Though, as you mentioned, you guys were catching Andrew there in the later stages. You were able to give him something to do there at the end and have a really fun fight. But yeah, overall, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, being from Canada, being the second Canadian track on the season, I'm sure growing up, you're a huge F1 guy, you got your fantasy league and stuff like that. I'm sure you're well familiar with this track. So what was it like coming here in a different car than we've run all season, trying to adapt and going back to the Indy Pro, a car you're well used to? You're back to the podium just like you always were in the old season. So is it something about this car and this track that has really worked for you tonight?
Yeah, you know what? Ultimately, I think it was a long time coming that I could finally, get the pieces together and really make that push for that top three. I mean, as you mentioned back in your previous series, I love being able to have these interviews and these conversations with you at the end of the race. And unfortunately, with this season, I'm not sure if everybody's aware, but I've been struggling quite a bit with VR and hardware issues. So I've had probably the majority of the races, when you look at it, being taken out by some form of VR issue, whether it's losing audio and having to just rely on the visuals, or losing the system altogether and crashing into the wall, as I'm sure you have seen throughout the year. So it was really nice to finally have no issues there, have the system hold up the entire time. And as it was holding up, it was a really good opportunity to just pound out the laps, just stay focused, keep my head down, and make sure I'm getting the absolute most out of the car. And to answer your question, I mean, growing up this track, I watch F1 every year, and I'm so excited for the Canadian Grand Prix, just being able to see the cars and the sport that I love so much come to Canada and race on Canadian soil. I was actually lucky enough to go in 2013 with my dad, and I got to watch my favorite driver of all time, Sebastian Vettel, win the race that year. So it's always been a very, very important track to me, and I know a lot of drivers are not the biggest fan just due to the slick nature of the circuit and the tight and technical corners, but at the end of the day, I really like this track, and I was able to, just like I said, keep my head down and just pound out the laps until we got to the end, to that checkered flag battle.
And in the end, yeah, you come home in second again. I think this might be your second podium of the year, but not a spot you were unfamiliar with whatsoever. Back in the Carts and Computers days, you were constantly in these spots. Yeah, we used to talk all the time. So glad that you got your hardware stuff figured out. It held through tonight, and hopefully in the future, if it stays that way, we have another season of many interviews with you. But overall big picture, we got a new champion of the series. Andrew Bedrossian becomes the first guy since, of course, Logan Paxson with those 3 championships to do it one after another. And just talk about big picture as a driver, what it takes in a series like this that's constantly switching from car to car, series to oval to road course discipline, and just what you've seen from being in the series for so long, what you used to see from Logan when he'd win the title, what you'd see from Andrew, and just what you think it takes to be in the position Andrew's going to be in tonight.
I mean, it really boils down to taking 2 things at the end of the day to win a championship. A big part of that is obviously skill and consistency. And as you mentioned, switching through cars and tracks throughout the year, it's sometimes hard to keep that consistency across the board. But a big part is just making sure, you're not making mistakes, or at the very least limiting mistakes and taking advantage of all the opportunities that come up in front of you. But that being said, the other huge portion of winning a championship is luck. And every driver can tell you this. It's unfortunately the sport with more bad days than good days. But on those good days, when you're able to put it together, and in Andrew's case, where he's able to win races and effectively win the championship, I mean, that's really what it's all about. So it's about taking that skill and that readiness to perform at the highest level and mixing that with a little bit of good fortune. And I'm not trying to minimize bringing up luck, but obviously as the sport goes, everything can change in a split second, pardon me.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's the perfect formula you put it there. So again, hopefully with your hardware stuff in the future, hopefully we see you back in the conversation there for a whole season. Because as we saw tonight with your pace, and again coming back to the podium, there's always the potential for you to get these great performances. And if you can consistently rattle these off, you're absolutely a championship caliber guy for sure. So great to talk to you again, Justin. I know that you've always had a lot of people supporting you there on the YouTube side of things. So now's your chance. If you want to give a shout out to anybody, friends and family at home for watching the entire season, sponsors, anything like that, now's your chance.
I mean, the biggest thanks I have to give out to is you and Chris at Race Director. I mean, without you guys, this event would never take place. We'd never be able to get this fantastic group of drivers together and be able to showcase our skills in the broadcast format. I mean, that's not something that I was used to before I was introduced to you. And once you introduced me to this league and sent me the invite, I mean, it's been such a fun time and such a blast every single season that we've done. And I believe this is now, I know I was with you since the first quarantine racing series. I forget what we had called it. Oh, Carts to Computers, the first season. Yeah. I mean, it's been fantastic running throughout the years, and now having and the same thing with last year in Vince, just having race directors and being able to slowly see the series progress. It's really great to see that, and obviously really great to have these conversations with you, because at the end of the day, all of us drivers really admire what you do for this league, Marshall. So you're definitely the first thanks. But I mean, other than that, huge thanks has to go to my dad and my brother and mom and sister who are all watching, but particularly my dad. I mean, he supported me at every single event I've been in, both cars, karts, and now watching iRacing on the TV on a Sunday or Monday night. So he supports me more than anything, and I honestly couldn't do it without him. So biggest thanks goes to him. And then also my girlfriend Hill and her entire family, who's generally watching these, but especially Hill. I mean, she was beside me on the couch the whole time. She's trying to keep it down so I wouldn't get distracted, especially in those last couple laps. But just having her support and knowing that, you know, there are people who are cheering for you and excited for you to do well. Once you finally do well, once you finally have the stars align and get that good luck, it's the best feeling in the world. And especially, the last thing I'll say is just with the way qualifying went. I don't know if it was if my incident was broadcasted, but I actually hit the wall of champions on my qualifying lap. I was about to hit my all-time best and just got a little wiggle on the end and hit that wall. So starting from P10 and then being able to work up to P2, it just made it all the more rewarding. And again, just fantastic battle with Trevor. I mean, gave me tremendous respect on the track and a lot of extra space, and it couldn't have been more fun out there today.
Awesome. That's everything I like to hear, Justin. That is, it's so great. No, I sincerely appreciate the thanks, and to think that all those years back, we didn't know each other prior to the first Carts to Computer series, but now here we are, like almost 3 years later, 4 seasons past, and still with us and still racking up podiums. So, no, great to see you. Thank you to everybody who comes out to support you, and just great to talk to you here, Justin. I hope you have a great rest of your year. Best of luck with all your racing endeavors. I know you're doing some cool stuff in the racing world for work, as well as obviously your career there itself. So I wish you the very best this year. Hope you have a great season. And I'm sure hopefully, again, like I said to Trevor, hopefully it's not the next time we run this series that I'm seeing you. And hopefully we get to race some stuff here on iRacing, because haven't had the time, but hopefully over the summer we can get something proper going, and I can give you a run for your money myself. So just have a great rest of your month. And again, congratulations. It was a great drive tonight, Justin.
Thank you very much, Marshall. Have a great night, and thank you to everybody out there for watching. I mean, all the drivers really appreciate the support and just appreciate being able to watch the stream back and see what you guys were seeing. So thank you for tuning in, and hopefully we can get this series up and running pretty soon again, because I'd love to get on track whenever you're out there, Marshall.
Awesome. Thank you, Justin. Have a great rest of your week and just year in general, man.
Absolutely. Take care.
There you go. Second interview of the night. Second of 4. This one is going to be, I'd imagine, a little bit quicker. Not so much for the podium performance as usual, but he's a guy that I think we really need to talk to. We finished in 4th, so it's not like he's too far off the podium. But he asked for an interview, and I'm more than happy to bring him in here. The 3-time champion in this series, or back when it was known as the Carts and Computers series, as Justin mentioned, he's been here for a very long time. But back when it was known as Carts to Computers, and last year in Snowstorm Season 1, let's bring in the 3-time champion, 4th place finisher tonight, and your pole sitter, Mr. Logan Pack. So let's get him in the broadcast booth. Hey, Logan Marshall for the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got a copy, Marshall.
Hey Logan, it has been ages since I've talked to you, man. It's great to have you back, and it's great to get a chance to talk to you as well, because just off the podium there in the end, there was the pit strategy call there, and then that contact with Justin towards the end. But you set the pole time, you run times in practice and in the race that I was running all week in practice. I cannot fathom how you find the 6/10 you did to beat the times you were running in practice this week. But just how has it been, man? And what was your experience like running tonight? Just talk us through the overall picture for you that brought you home in fourth.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was definitely hard to resist coming back to do a final race, and the track and car were difficult, so I definitely thought that would be fun. A little challenge is always nice. Yeah, I came out, I did the times in practice, and I kind of saw what the gap was, and from that point, I kind of decided I don't really want to interfere, and I really don't want to sit out front either. So me not pitting during the safety car was on purpose. I didn't really want to sit out front, so I thought, why not pit, make it a challenge. I didn't take tires either, which was definitely also a bigger challenge as well. Yeah, and I just thought, why not make it difficult? See what I can do.
Yeah, I like the energy. It feels very fitting as we declare a new champion tonight to pass the torch from a 3-time champion in the series, the guy who's won every championship for every season I've ever hosted. Of course, you didn't run it full-time this year, else I guarantee you would have been in that conversation again this year. But to pass it off, that's a really, really cool thing. So just thinking big picture, I mean, you raced against Andrew all of last season in the Snowstorm series. You guys battled it out to the bitter end last year. He really pushed you in the past. You guys have had a lot of fun battles. Just talk about what it was like racing him in the past, and what, from your perspective, what it takes to win a series like this, and how Andrew would have done what he did this year.
Well, I definitely think that Andrew's done a great job. I've tuned in a couple of times this year, and he's been doing really well. But winning a series, to address that question, comes entirely from your perspective. Most people will think about the series. Some people will think about each race. And the guy who wins thinks about every single corner. Right? If you think about the goal, you will never see the crucial things you have to do to reach that goal that are sitting in front of you. And you'll become so overwhelmed with obtaining that goal that you don't realize that the things that allow you to do that, the little things, are the things you have to focus on. And if you understand that, and that is ingrained as a part of how you see the world and racing, then you will do very well in a championship and any type of competition.
Right. Wow. Some powerful words. Very well put there, Logan. That was, truly words of a champion, man. Because the 3-time champion in a series that's only had 4 seasons, that is speaks to how well you've been able to use those mindsets in the past to your great advantage. Again, you're still the all-time series wins leader, and man, just really, really great to have you back tonight. I'm really glad you showed up, not just for practice, but to run the race, and hopefully we'll see more one-off appearances from you in the future, even if you aren't able to run the full season. But speaking of which, just kind of, I'll make this your usual broadcast time. Talk about friends and family shoutouts, anything like that. Any sponsors you want to mention? Because I know you have many that support you in the background. But just talk about what's your racing career been like since last we saw you? What have you been doing this winter and the time off from the series, and just what's the future hold for the 16?
Well, for this year, it's going to be strictly saving, and because we do have a car lined up for 2023 with Britain West Motorsports. Like, they are an incredible team, and I couldn't be happier, and I couldn't have hoped to pick a better team for the car that I'm going to be running. I'm going to be running F1600 in 2023. Super excited to do that, and hopefully try and continue in cars. But for this year it's just gonna be karting, having tons of fun, trying to learn as much as I can into the more like minute and deeper skills of racing, and definitely focusing more on the mind than I think on the performance, because it's practically muscle memory at this point, the pace and how to drive it properly. So the mental side I'm really excited to develop this year even more.
Awesome. Yeah, I think with the on-track product, your ability of your talent, your skill, and your racecraft, and just everything, your pace that you've demonstrated in this series for years. And again, I like to think that I can be a pretty quick driver when I really get practiced, really get focused up, and then you come in these sessions and absolutely blow the times I or anybody else runs away. Clearly the talent is there, so as long as that mindset, that championship winning ability, and that ability to make it through what is, I know, a very tough industry and a very tough sport, I have the utmost confidence you're going to succeed in anything you do in your future. And again, I always feel like every time we talk to you in the broadcast booth, or every time you show up for one of these races, it'll be one of those things where in 10 years we're like, man, like that guy used to race in my series. Like, that's really cool. And people are, I get the feeling, are going to know your name in a lot of series. So yeah, the Formula 1600 ride is extremely cool. And I know much about that path through a couple other drivers that you and I have probably met before that have run in this very same team. So I wish you the very best of luck, and I have the utmost faith you're gonna succeed once you get the opportunities. So thank you, Logan, for absolutely everything, man. Again, if you got any sponsors you want to mention, and to wrap it up, that's it. But just let us know, man, and wrap us up before we go to your championship winner.
Well, before I say anything about that, I would like to say, dude, that the amount of like passion and effort you put into this is like crazy. It's really cool, and it's just really cool to see, dude. And you do like an incredible job, right? I've witnessed that firsthand. You do a great job, and I love running your series. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it this time, but whenever I am able to, I will definitely do it, because these are really fun. I just want to say, man, you do an incredible job, and my main thanks goes to you.
Awesome. I sincerely appreciate that, Logan. I really do. That is, it's so great to hear again from a guy that's been with me for so long, and for you were one of the founding guys back at the very beginning. And if it weren't for how fun you were to watch and all that you provided on track, maybe this season wouldn't have gotten to the point it's at now. So, no, I really appreciate that, Logan. And I wish you the very, very best for your future. And I really hope we get you back, even if not for a full season, because I know you're a busy guy, sometime in the future. Really hope we see you again, because just what a fun time it's been having you back, and what a couple seasons we've had together here, almost 4 now. So really hope we get a chance to race each other more again this season, as I said to the other guys. But man, just thank you so much, Logan. The exact same thanks goes back to you, and again, hopefully we see you again for a couple more races next season. But it's been so great to have you here tonight, and again, absolute best of luck to everything you do in the future, because again, I know you're going to knock it out of the park.
Thank you, man. You cut out there. I don't know if you said something that I missed. I just want to make sure I didn't miss what you said there.
Oh, no worries. No, just thank you for everything you've done for the series for all these 4 years, and I really wish you the best of luck in the future.
You cut out there, but thank you so much. So just finally, I'd like to thank Britton West again, and I'd like to thank Saginaw Dental, Prime Power Team, Trevor Wickens, and Danielle, and again, Marshall. Been a really fun time, and it's just been great, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Logan. Have a great rest of your season, man. Hopefully I'm not cutting out too much here, but thank you so much, Logan. Thanks for coming back, man, and we will talk to you, I'm sure, at the end of 2022.
All right, man. You have a nice night.
You too. There you go. Hopefully I wasn't cutting out on your end. I think it was just on the Discord side of things there. The session has apparently come to an end on the iRacing side of things, so we may not have an actual title slide here, but luckily we made one before the race for this guy. Is it going to work? It is not. We'll just throw up the actual graphic we made pre-race for him. Just a split second, folks. And then we're on to the interview you've all been waiting for with your new series champion, Mr. Andrew Bedrossian. Let's get the graphic. Again, I just want to make sure this looks as polished as possible. Got to end the season on a high. There you go. That looks pretty clean, actually. That doesn't look too bad. There you go. Okay, let's get him in the broadcast booth. Final interview of the season. Mr. Andrew Bedrossian. It's Marshall up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Marshall.
Andrew, you have done it, my man. Sorry we made you wait. We had a bunch of interviews to do. We wanted to make sure we could come to you last to round off the season. But Andrew, 3 seasons in the series, second all-time in series wins, an incredible season, and finally you get that title in the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series, the second champion in history. Just what was it like, man? The later stages of that race, you pulled away, you started to dominate there at the end, and now you're the champion. What's going through your head, man?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much speechless. Worked pretty hard to get this thing together. Worked on all my skills, speed, consistency, and this year tried working on just focusing on the big picture, and all worked out.
Yeah, talking about that big picture, we've known for a very, very long time, everybody in the series, everybody talks about it, how incredibly talented you are as a driver. Just the raw pace you have is tough to match from anybody. We had guys like Nick come in, who has dominated his series in the road courses for quite a long time, came in and had an extremely tough time keeping up with you. So obviously that pace has always been there, but just this season, your consistency really got better as the season went on. You started to develop that patience that your championship rival, Trevor Anderson, has really been known for. So how do you feel like you had to mature as a driver from last season to this year? In that great battle you had with Logan where you just barely came up short, but this year, with flying colors, you win the championship. How do you feel like you've improved in order to make this a reality?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a big picture. I went over all last season, looked at what Logan was doing, and yeah, worked on the big picture thing. It was pretty difficult with some of the races, had a really up and down season with Tim on me, Trevor, Nick. Nick wasn't too much of a threat until the later stages of the race. But yeah, like I said, like with trying to battle with Max, like it wasn't that big of a concern because I knew, that's not who I'm battling. And yeah, just kept my eyes on who I was battling and just, pulled away.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about tonight's race, Andrew, just the pace was clear. Once Logan made that pit stop later in the race, it was smooth sailing there to the very end. You took off from the other guys. They started to reel you back in at the end, but I'd imagine that was more so just you coasting than anything. And just all the way through this season, 4 wins in all those top 5s, extremely consistent overall. Just, do you feel like there's anything that you could have changed, or was this season Andrew Bedrossian, that number 5 car, at the very best of your abilities?
Yeah, there was a lot of things I could have changed. I was just talking to Logan about it before this interview. There was a lot of races I gave up, like Phoenix, Imola, a couple of other races, I think Monza. But yeah, like I could have probably clinched the championship a lot sooner and taken the stress off my back. But it came out great in the end. But yeah, I mean, just mark off needless mistakes like I did last season. Last season I had a lot of unnecessary crashes with back markers because I was trying to rush and didn't look at the big picture. But yeah, so that's what I'm gonna work on over the off season also, and hopefully get a lot more wins.
Well, looking to the offseason, looking to the future, now you're a champion. You're the second one in history. We don't know what the future holds for Logan. Maybe we'll have both series champions, and maybe we'll get a repeat of that incredible battle in the first season of the Snowstorm series back in the future, and I can't wait to see it with how you guys have matured as drivers since we last saw you two. But just in the big picture, Andrew, what do you think the future holds now when you come back for Season 3 and going forward as a champion, knowing what you know now, having proved what you need to prove? Are you going to take any different of an approach mentally? Is there any knowledge you think you'll pick up this season? Like, what are you doing in your real life racing endeavors? Just kind of talk us, what does the future hold for Andrew Bedrossian?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to try to do more of the karting thing, get it even more into that. with what I took away from this season, I mean, I know the big picture works a lot better than trying to treat every lap like it's the last lap. But yeah, I mean, I did like driving these cars a whole lot. Not all cars drive the same, but it was definitely fun to have both these cars and to drive this car for the last race because it definitely was slippery. But yeah, it's I'd love to see Logan out on the track next year. I mean, we had some great battles in the past, and I told him having Nick and I battle was not really ever going to compare to how he and I battled when we were only like a second apart or even less every single race. So, yeah, that's pretty much what's going to go down. I mean, I definitely am going to go get a Happy Meal after this. So, yeah.
There you go. I won't hold you up from your celebration too long, but you know how these interviews end. You've done so many of them in the past 2 seasons. But not only is it the final interview of the race, but also the final interview of the season. So, friends, family. I know you've had people supporting you all throughout the year. They've been very vocal throughout the entire season. You got a lot of people supporting you. You got some sponsors there as well. So, to round off the season, your final thoughts and your final shout-outs to anybody that supported you this year.
Yeah, I really got to thank my girlfriend for helping me last race because that race with the Xbox controller was her thought. So, and that was definitely the thing that decided the championship was, which was amazing on her part. Couldn't ask for a better girlfriend. But I also want to thank my mother and father for supporting me through this season. They've definitely been great. All the students at Bentley University, I know they love these races and getting a lot more support this season. So they've also been pretty good. I really do want to thank you for putting this all together. It's been fun for the last 3 seasons, and yeah, been great competition to race against these guys. So Michael Nickel definitely was pretty good. If I had to give anybody a rookie most improved, it'd definitely be him. So but yeah, I do want to thank Stamos Realtors, JP West Photo, Kings of Pop Culture, the Bedford School. All great sponsors. The Bedford School is definitely one of the best. They've been with me for every single season I've raced. So yeah, I'm glad I could finally get them a championship. So it's definitely been a long time coming. But yeah, it's definitely great, and I'll be here next season.
That's what I like to hear. You got a title to defend now, and yeah, you really done the sponsors proud there. Got your first title, and I'd imagine, just like when Lewis won his first, it just felt like it was going to be the first of many over there in F1, and now I feel like you've definitely got the potential to make that the very same in this series. So we'll cap it off here, Andrew. But I just want to ask you a final question here, man. As I've offered it to Logan in the past, and he's always stuck with his number in the past. You're now the champion, and I've always run the number 1 in the series, just as a way to keep it away from drivers until a champion wins it. But the question is, when you come back next year, are you going to take over the number 1, drive the champion's exclusive number?
I got to stick with number 5.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
Lucky number. So.
I always respect that. I respect guys that stick to a number that works, stick to their lucky number for you. And at this point in the series, I'm just used to the number 5 and those custom liveries for you. So it looks good. I was just curious to ask. But sincerely, Andrew, congratulations on improving, I think, in every way as a driver this season, pushing yourself to the very limit, proving unequivocally that this was a deserved championship in every way. And for the future, I'm just so excited to see you and Logan again going back up against each other. It was great to see you guys tonight, but you get the better of him in the end. 4 wins this season, second all-time in the series. You've made a name for yourself overall, man, and it wouldn't be the Snowstorm series without you. So I thank you so much, Andrew. Best of luck in the future. Best of luck in your karting endeavors. And again, like I said to everybody else, really hope we don't have to wait until next year to race against each other again, because it's always a ton of fun. And just congratulations again. 2021-2022 Snowstorm Season 2 champion, Andrew Bedrossian.
Yeah, thank you, Marshall. All right, I'll see you.
See ya. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Your final interview of the night with the new champion in the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series, Mr. Andrew Bedrossian. We are going to fix the hair. It's been a long broadcast, folks. You guys don't don't always maybe get a sense of in these longer races. I've definitely had longer. I think I had a Bandit League race that went like 3 hours and 15 minutes. That was rough here, but being a single commentary booth for a series that's a little bit more humble like this one compared to some of the bigger productions on YouTube, it's tough. So by the end of the race, usually I'm pretty dead, but I also want to give drivers their fair credit. So just to round it off, first of all, again, you got to give the proper thank you to everybody who deserves it. I'm going to start with our race director, Chris Ferrara, who subbed in on like less than a week notice at the beginning of the season. He was always a really great guy over there in the Bandit Racing League. Such a fun guy to talk to. He and I have talked many times in the past. He's a really great guy, but he was also such a great mind for racing, such a really great composed, such a great mature guy. I was like, he would be perfect for this role. Subbed in this season. Tons of oval knowledge, but was trying to get up to speed on the road courses, and he really did. The drivers were so thankful to have this season, as was I. He does everything in the background of these broadcasts that I can't do from my perspective. So, sincere thank you to Chris Ferrara, absolutely, for everything you've done for us this year, and I can't wait to see you back out in the Xfinity car in 2 days' time at in the Bandit Racing League's first race at Daytona. So, I thank him for everything he's done. Next on, we got to thank all the drivers, of course. Every single person in this series, even if you just won one race, or not one race, attended one race. Guys like way back at the beginning of the season, Brett Guzik, former Bandit Series champion in Season 9, he ran a single race. Woody Mahan ran a couple. James Donk, who gave a really nice comment there in the Discord for our series just a moment ago, he ran some races. Anybody who's run all season, the drivers who came to all those practices I hosted to make it worthwhile. And of course, the drivers who came out each and every week, those longtime veterans as well. And the new series rookies who tried it out this year really stuck with it and impressed from start to finish. Michael Nickel, Mitch Morrow, Christopher Mitchell. The list goes on. Of course, David Lakey getting his first win last week at Auto Club. Just what a year from start to finish. Thank you to my dad for supporting the series. Thank you to everybody who cheers me on. Thank you to my roommates here at university for putting up with me on formerly Sunday nights and now in a couple of days Wednesday nights again. For broadcasting here and keeping the cooking in the kitchen to a relative minimum. To keep it pretty quiet. I'm not sure if you guys have ever even heard of, but thank you to all those guys. And yeah, finally got to thank Evan Wall. First of all, blow me this way. I finally figured it out. The camera flips when I put it on screen. Thank you to Evan Wall Media. He made some graphics here last minute. He is extremely busy with university. He's doing a lot of production stuff for the University of Alabama, so he is extremely busy, but an extremely talented guy. He makes all the graphics for this series, which is why hopefully it looks a lot more polished than it used to. But he had to make some stuff for last minute this week, and he had to make some stuff for the Bandit season starting on Wednesday. So every race, I want to sincerely thank Evan for everything he does, and just what a pleasure it was to meet him. And hopefully we'll have him back for the Bandit series for some commentary this season. But thank you first of all to Evan Wall. Thank you to CanadianMiniIndy.com, everybody I work with. Thank you, of course, to Danielle, who runs things over there, who I've known for quite a long time through both my karting endeavors, but also through hosting the series. She was so generous to also award a prize to the top finishing Canadian Mini Indy driver in the series, which I believe is going to be Michael Nickel if he finished properly, which I believe he will be the top finisher this season for Canadian drivers. It might be an All-American top 4, actually, depending on where he finished relative to David Lakey. So what a weird turnout that would be. We have 4 Americans full-time in the series, and I think they all finished top 4, so I don't want to imply anything there for any international rivalry, but that's come on, Canadians, let's pick it up next season. But no, sincerely thank you to everybody at CanadianMiniIndy.com. Chris, who supports us, gets the link out there on the social media, does so much good work there to get the word out. I got really busy some weekends, only got it to him last minute, so thank you for always managing to get it out on time and get those posts out, get the link out there, and hopefully you guys have some of you guys have come through from that side of things. Overall standing, somebody just put in the chat, it will take me a quick minute, but honestly, you know what, that's not a bad idea if we want to do that in just a sec. So I know it's gonna take some math. It's gonna be tough. I'm gonna do the crunching the numbers on that tonight. It does take a little bit to get the stats put in, get it updated for the standings. No drop races. I will tell you, absolutely top 3: Bedrossian, Anderson, Nickerson. After that, it's a question mark. David, I think you might have beaten Michael there in the chat. So David Lakey asking, I think you did finish 4th. So yeah, point is, it's very close to the season. Thank you to CanadianMiniIndy.com. Again, premier karting at any level, rookie series, arrive and drive. If you just want to start off, get used to racing, get your foot in the door. I've run over a decade there in that series in some capacity, so it's been really where I've had an outlet for racing for a long time. Scott, who supports the series in every broadcast, I want to thank him sincerely too. He comes out every week, gets people to support the channel, and we've had some incredible battles in the past, and unfortunately not in the championships this last year, but hopefully sometime in the future. But yeah, other than that, CanadianMini.com, sincerely thank you, and check him out. Links always in the description. Same with EvanWallMedia.com for his portfolio, as well as all the work he does. Custom paint schemes and iRacing, custom numbers, anything you can need. If you're a Bandit Racing League driver watching this before Wednesday, you need some stuff done. If he's got the time, he's the guy to go to for a pretty sweet paint scheme. So again, with that, I want to thank my dad, my parents, everybody that supports me for doing this broadcast sort of thing. And again, finally, sincere thank you to everybody in the chat. Heather for supporting us as always. Everybody that comes back and checks in with us every little while. Without this, you guys, without you guys, this broadcast wouldn't happen. I know the drivers really like going to watch it back, but the fact that I can do this live in front of you guys is the reason it happens. And it's always good to get reps. Always something I look forward to watching these races, and hopefully you guys sincerely enjoy them as well. So I'm gonna leave before too long. I don't want you guys to have to stay too late and dig into any more of your Monday evening, because it is a work night. I guess Sunday races in this series are work nights too. But before we get too far, I do just want to put up the schedule for the Bandit Racing League. Again, I don't know if you guys have, if you've just watched for this series, I don't know if you've ever even seen the Bandit Racing League. It is not something I host. The series itself is hosted by Bill Harkins and many of its series admins there. It runs every Wednesday, as it will be for a number of weeks here. You see the schedule. We have some drop weeks in there, but I'm just the broadcaster for this series. But this is stock car racing. This is the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Runs at a number of ovals as well as some road courses. Circuit of the Americas just took over the placement of formerly Daytona Road Course there for the April 13th race. So, yeah, tune in for that. Can't wait to be covering that series again. So go check that out. If you are at all interested in oval racing, you have any party that's curious about it, that series will frequently feature 43 drivers. It's a massive series, massive production from me and Evan. We really put a ton into that. So if you're looking for something different, I promise you that it's going to be a really fun thing to check out. The very same channel here on Full Send Racing Network. Go check it out starting on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. And that is about going to wrap it up for that. So go check it out. They're going into Season 10 this year. And Andrew Bedrossian, I believe, is actually hopping over. The new champion of this series will be hopping into the Bandit Racing League starting this season. So I can't wait to see what he does over there. And it wouldn't be too bad to see the flip side of all the Bandit guys coming over to this season, like Nick, who did so well, and David as well, to go back the other way. Send one of our guys over to Bandit and see what they can do. So that'll about round it off, ladies and gentlemen. What a year it's been. Thank you so much for supporting Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series Season 2, and can't wait for bigger and better things in the future. Hopefully get some more time to put into it next season. Get some more interviews, more on-camera stuff. We do more green screen stuff with my background, because we have a green screen. It's just, with time, it gets really tough to put up, but you see the genuine setup up here in the background behind me. So that'll round it off, ladies and gentlemen. For myself, for everybody that supports this series, sincerely thank you. Have a great rest of the year, and yeah, the official standings will be posted in the series Discord, so text your loved ones that run in this series to get your final results and figure out where they finish. With that, that'll take us away from myself and everybody in this series. That'll bring the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series to an end. Your new champion again, Andrew Bedrossian, wins at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve and takes away the title from Trevor Anderson, who finishes narrowly in second. Thank you to every great driver this season. Thank you to Nick, who couldn't be here tonight. Congratulations on your third place performance in the championship. And that'll cap us off. Have a great 2022, everybody. I wish you the very best. And yeah, that'll about round us off. For myself, Marshall Crocker Jr., signing off for Full Send Racing Network. We will see you in future seasons. Have a great year, everybody.